And hello everyone, welcome back to Virtue Gaming Live. I am number 2 Ginger, supposed to be joined by Trapani Fan tonight. Unfortunately, I have no clue where he is. No one has any idea where he is, so it's just me tonight, just number 2 Ginger on the solo cast for now. Hopefully Trapani Fan will hop in at some point. But anyway, I'm here. We got Virtue Gaming Unity versus SDC Death Cards tonight in Aegis Defenders League Week 5. Both teams 2-2, middle of the pack in their groups, looking to really make a statement here, because both teams are, looking pretty shaky. 2-2, not great, not bad. But if either team can get a clean 2-0 tonight, it might set them into, the upper echelon of the groups and give them a better shot of potentially making a playoff run. But I'm excited to see what both teams can bring out. This is a best of 3 as usual. Virtue Gaming Unity starting out on blue side. SDC Death Cards going to be red side as picks and bans have started underway. First pick for Unity is going to be picked up with that Gwen. Pretty traditional first pick we've been seeing a lot lately. But SDC immediately answers with Xin Zhao Jinx. Pretty standard across the board for both teams. Gwen a lot has been seen as an answer into Xin Zhao jungle, so I think it's very reasonable we just see the Gwen go into the jungle this game. But Jinx, I think is a disgusting champion as well. Should probably be answered by Phelios, but also just one of the strongest AD carries in the game right now. Welcome everyone in chat. I see the chat going. Zuma Rick, my man, yes, Rebort abandoned me tonight. I have no idea where Rob is, where Trapani Fan is. If you want to give him a call for me, Rick, go ahead and go yell at him. But anyway, I am, I'm good enough to solo cast. No worries. I'm just carrying everything. Unity picking up Lulu Zeri. Kind of nice. Zeri specifically loves to be paired with an enchanter. So taking away that Lulu to be paired with the Jinx as well is super, super strong for Unity. However, they are at risk here of just getting counterpicked by something like a Blitzcrank. This is already a very good Blitzcrank game. Bot lane will get completely wrecked. Even Nautilus is really good here as well. So SDC has a really good chance to just punish the super weak side bot lane. And yeah, there's the Nautilus. And remember, Unity is on blue side, so they don't have counterpick for top lane. So they're going to have a weak side bot lane and also potentially have just a guaranteed losing top lane, assuming SDC doesn't pick a matchup that just, Gwen can win into. So maybe Unity goes for some of the Graves, which is just kind of winning into every matchup. But still, I'm liking the draft from SDC right now a bit more than Unity. Unity is complete scaling, though. They already pretty much outscale all of SDC. Jinx arguably scales even to Zeri. But Unity, if they get to 3 items right now, it's just kind of GG. Second phase bans coming through. Corki is going to be knocked off from SDC, whereas Unity knocks off Jax. Corki, I mean, would be just another pure scaling pick from Unity at that point. I don't really see any world that Unity would pick that. They really need some early game pressure here and something to play through. Whereas the Jax ban is a nice counter to that Gwen that SDC can take, so it makes sense, especially if Unity wants to put that Gwen top instead of taking against the Xin Zhao. Really not sure what they're comfortable with, but we'll find out pretty quickly. SDC going to be taking down Irelia here as their next ban. A nice ban in my opinion, especially when you have that Gwen as you could just solo AP. Irelia will be a nice flex pick into mid and top, along with just kind of dominates the majority of lanes and not something you really want to see all day. So not surprising there as Unity finishes it off with the Ryze ban. Ryze pretty strong in the meta right now, pretty top tier, at least in pro play. So nothing really surprising in this draft. It's kind of the same draft we've seen for probably the past 4 months at this point. Besides Zeri is, I guess, the only new pick. So very, very exciting. Very looking forward to the same champions. Akali picked up for SDC. Great pick here, in my opinion. Akali is a very good vacuum answer into Gwen. Just kind of destroys Gwen. So it's really forcing Gwen into the jungle here, which is fine against Xin Zhao. But then Unity, has to pick a matchup that beats Akali top lane. However, then Akali can get flex mid and your counterpick top lane again. So really great pickup for the Akali here, I think. It doesn't do well into Lulu Zeri specifically. Lulu Zeri can really mess up Akali, especially when Zeri gets a little bit tankier to survive Akali's burst on top of Lulu with the polymorph. But Akali just as a vacuum counter to Unity's lanes right now is very, very, very strong. Unity's going to be picking up Viego here. That can potentially be a flex into a solo lane, but much more likely jungle. So it seems like Unity is going to be taking the Gwen top. It's pretty hard to imagine that they willingly take the counter pick top here unless they just simply don't have the Gwen jungle flex potential, which would be really sad to see. I don't think she's worth a first pick if you don't have the flex potential. And now the Gallia is coming out as the last pick since SDC is holding their R5 pick, assuming that Kali is going top. SDC has the potential to answer into Galio. You could, you know, I don't know how I feel with this Galio pick either. I feel like SDC just picks Akshan here and the game's over. Trinimir 2 kind of does the same thing. Yeah, you just pick an AD carry into Galio, and now you have a winning mid lane. So, I mean, Unity has losing bot lane, losing mid lane, and losing top lane. And arguably losing jungle. I mean, Xin Zhao just has more prio over Viego. Viego plays for counter ganks instead of actively ganking, right? So, SDC looking kind of Pog champion here. I dare to say looking almost as good as Pograts, but we're going to have to see. You know, Unity, what Unity has going for them is scaling and team fights. Their team fight setup is pretty nice. Galio Gwen, very, very nice frontline that's hard to deal with. The problem is, can they actually kill the pairing of Xin Zhao Nautilus? Unity's lacking a lot on the damage front. Galio and Lulu, no damage. Viego, not, you know, some damage, especially if he goes the damage build, he'll have a lot more damage. But he's so prone to getting popped this game from Akali Trin that it feels really bad to go the shield build. So if he goes Sundra, low damage. You know, Gwen's gonna have a decent amount of damage, but she is a scaling threat. She needs time, she needs items. And Zeri, same thing. She needs time, she needs items, and she's just gonna be hitting frontline. And when that Trinimir, you know, it can't die, and that Xin Zhao is inside of his ultimate, he just doesn't take damage. So I mean, I have a very hard time seeing how Unity actually wins this game and what their win condition is they're playing towards. You can always say the resets on Viego. I mean, that's always a valid argument. But again, how do you actually get the resets this game is my question. No one can really kill Xin Zhao, besides maybe Gwen. No one can really kill Akali up until 2-3 items. Jinx is pretty much untouched. Like, you have 0 dive on Jinx unless Zeri gets unleashed in a fight. And, you know, Trinimir is just going to run amok. You can't polymorph everyone. You know, the Unity does have going again. They have some really, really gross champions. Gwen, Lulu, Zeri are all gross champions. I just think the priority on the second half of the draft was very, very misplaced. If you're picking the Gwen like that, it has to be a flex. If the other team is immediately answering Xin Zhao and IB1 Gwen, I'm just instantly putting Gwen jungle there every single time. It's a good matchup for Gwen. Gwen gets the free farm. She has good counter gank potential into Xin Zhao. And you could always still threat the flex top, but if you don't have the threat of the flex, there's no point in picking the flex, right? So, you know, I think this game is definitely going to be severely Unity disadvantage, and SDC is going to have the big advantage here. But regardless, we're going to head over to a break. I believe Chapani fan is getting ready to hop in. So he should be here when we get into game, as he just joined Discord call. We will be right back on a break. Don't go anywhere. In 3 minutes, we will be live with Virtual Game Unity versus SDC Death Cards Game 1. Welcome back, everyone, into Game 1 of the series. I'm number 2 Ginger, and believe it or not, I am actually joined by Chwani Fan this time around. He missed all of draft, but he is here for the game. Chwani Fan, how you doing?
Hi, sorry, I fell asleep and I used my new work schedule. I am doing pretty okay. How about yourself tonight?
Doing pretty good. I'm also exhausted, but instead of taking a nap, I stayed up to cast because I knew I would sleep through it as well. So, yeah. Anyway, I mean, we're in-game. You didn't get to see draft, but give me your quick, brief rundown of how you think these compositions are going to play. Actually, hold that thought here as quality player. Oh, the hook onto W Turtle lands to a wall. He might have to flash this one. The taunt comes out. Wildtire's going to dash forward, and there's the flash burn. Quality player still going forward. Not going to get much more. So, flash burn there. Nautilus does have Hex Flash, a nice little level 1 cheese. As I was saying that, Rob, what do you think of these two team compositions going at it?
Well, for whatever reason, there's a lot of really overpowered champions in this draft. I'm going to be honest, it's a bit surprising. Going down the list, we see Gwen in top lane.
Oh, wait, hold on. It's a Tryndamere? Okay, no, hold on. I could have sworn it was going to be a Kali top Tryndamere mid. This changes everything.
So this doesn't change what I said. There's still a lot of goddamn OP champions in this godforsaken game. That being said, if we kind of look at the rundown, the Gwen versus the Tryndamere isn't like super fun matchup for Gwen, but is a bit survivable.
No, it's really bad, bro. If you actually watch like pro play, Tryndamere permadives Gwen every single time.
That's just Tryndamere though, dude. Like...
So it's not playable.
All right. By that logic, Tryndamere should be 100% pick ban.
He should. I think he almost is right now in LCK.
That's a fair point. So looking at that, top lane definitely losing, but Gwen can do some Gwen things. Jungle, Viego's definitely going to lose that early priority. But again, Viego thinks to get the reset, he just kind of turned into, like, 6 different champions. Mid lane, we have Galio versus Akali, which is definitely the most surprising part. I do agree. I would have much expected to see the Tryndamere go mid and the Akali go top, as Akali is also a very good answer into the Gwen, and Tryndamere would have a much better time on the Akali into this Galio. That being said, Akali will still do Akali things. She'll be fine as 5 lane until about level 7, where the Q stops costing her entire energy bar, and then she'll be able to take some much better trades against this Galio. But until then, Galio does have the ability, as we see, gank mid. Yeah,
taunt coming out from a quality player, but the knockout came through just in time from Cinnyboo. Is going to secure the first blood over to Shred Man 3 in the mid lane for SDC Death Cards.
Ash is greedy, man. Like, he sort of boots with the Predator, so he's not, he's not even any sort of tank, Doran's Ring or Doran's Shield. And he still has the flash up, could have very easily tapped a taunt into a flash E, and had a much better chance of getting
coming out on bot lane there, but now a 3v2 in the top lane. So much instant damage coming out from that Galio burst, and Zohair's gonna get a reset, dashes forward, flashes in onto Rary. This Tryndamere so out of position, doesn't have any subs. A double kill coming out for Zohair on this Viego. I was gonna name like 3 different champions because the kills say the wrong champion when he's actually Viego, but a huge comeback play from Virtue Gaming there.
These champions are so broken, I didn't even get to finish talking about draft, as there's still more fighting going on in the bottom lane.
Oh, Arch gonna go down low here. Exhaust comes out, but Caprice doesn't flash forward. He gives the kill over to his support because he's a very selfless ADC. And that's just a straight 2v2 kill coming down in the bot lane for SDC.
Yeah, I think Arch got hooked twice. Once to start off an earlier trade and then once there. So just, I'm not going to blame him. Nautilus Hook is inside of China, but like getting hit by both Nautilus Hooks is not too great. Finish talking about this draft, we do see the really strong pair of, supposedly really strong pair of Zeri Lulu versus the Nautilus Jinx. If Zeri Lulu can get out of this lane, Zeri is going to be a problem as she moves at the speed of Sonic the Hedgehog. But it's not looking too hot right now. Down a bit in CS, also to get over that kill, and getting hit by these Nautilus Hooks, excuse me, and now is no summons on the side of Arch, so this could definitely be a repeat angle for the side of SDC Death Cards. Other than that, SDC Death Cards, they have some pretty standard champions too, like I said, the Jinx Nautilus, also the Xin Zhao. And we talked about it a bit earlier, but Tryndamere a bit bonkers right now, so...
Ooh, Gwen went Bramble Vest first item.
I can't say that's necessarily a bad thing. That being said, I don't buy Bramble Vest often. What I will say is that Bramble Vest is 1100, right? The same as
No,
plated steel
it's
caps?
800.
It's 800.
I
Okay.
think Bramble Vest is 1100 gold.
I don't know, man. I don't play top lane. I don't buy that item. That being said, I don't know if I would have preferred to save for the plated steel caps. It is important to note that it is double 80 topside for the side of wildcards, and they both do a fair amount of auto attacking. So I can't say I'm necessarily surprised by the Bramble.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you just go boots Ruby. Like you're like literally handicapping now your spike, right? Because now you're 800 gold behind your 2-item spike, which is just so important for the Gwen. And like you're never gonna finish the item either, right? So an 800 gold is gonna sit in your inventory. And who actually heals? Like Trinity doesn't even heal that much. He doesn't die. He doesn't like the healing isn't the problem. Like, I don't know. The Warden, what's the 1100 gold? The Warden's Mail? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's like
Warden's
that item
Mail
is like being built over Bramble right now because it's just better if you need pure armor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I would have much rather seen going for the plated steel caps over the Bramble Vest if you were looking for armor to try to survive the lane.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm tilted.
It's a bit of an interesting choice. No, listen, man, that's fine. You're right to be tilted. I think Bramble Vest is not a great item either. But I do kind of understand the thought process. I do just believe that
oh, Bait coming out on top on Rare in the Wild Terry. Going down, remember, only has Ghost, can't flash away. Drops the Needlework, is going to get the third proc. It's going to force Rare to actually ultimate. And he's able to walk that one out. So much healing coming through. And that Bramble Vest did come into play there. He's able to tank so much extra damage from that while pumping up some of his own. So, very interesting that Wild Terry is actually able to survive that. And Rare, first to run the ultimate, now in a great position.
Yeah, I feel like since I was not able to get a lot of auto attacks off in that gank for some reason, I don't believe I ever saw Terry got knocked up. So yeah, I mean, he got to walk away, pretty solid. It's definitely what you want in this lane. But we talked about it is pretty rough for the Gwen. She will eventually just get ran down at some point. So the longer we're able to delay the inevitable, the better for VG Unity.
Oh, cannon check. Any cannon checkers?
Unlucky.
Yeah, so Dragon was taken by Zohair in the bot side as a response to Cineboo with that gank in the top lane. So first dragon going to be the Cloud one. Not super important, but we'll start stacking the dragons over for VG. Second dragon's going to be Mountain Drag, so maybe we do get Hextech Soul this game. Always fun to watch if someone wants to decide to int on the portals or something. But
yeah, it is important to note that all three Dragon Souls that it is possible to become now are pretty high impact between the Infernal Ocean and the Hextech Soul. So dragons should start to be ramping up in priority for both of these teams.
Hopefully so. I mean, I feel like VG has like a pretty decent team fight comp, at least in the early to mid. Galio should have a very high impact, and getting a reset for Viego is the priority, right?
Yeah, getting the reset for your Viego and trying to make some space for your Zeri to attack freely and keep her her ultimate passive stacked up. And on the side, SDC, they're not like extremely tanky, but if you look at their top side, they all have ways to essentially become tankier with the Tryndamere ultimate, the Zinzao ultimate, and the Kali Shroud. All of these ways for these champions to stall out the damage they are taking. So it could be potentially pretty hard for VG Unity to get these resets on any of those characters. So they're probably going to have to be looking for the Nautilus for the resets. That being said, Nautilus is definitely not a bad reset target for Viego because of how much CC that guy has. It's important to note, though, he does have Aftershock instead of the Glacial Augment, so he himself will be a bit tankier to take down if he's able to find some CC before the fight starts.
Yeah, both teams kind of pandering around here. Rary might go aggressive. No, I'm playing very safe on this Tryndamere so far. I feel like there's been a few times we've seen where he could have potentially just ghosted forward and forced Terry in an awkward spot with no ghost himself. Maybe we're going to see it here as Needlework comes down. Rary hasn't popped any of his sums yet. Still hasn't dropped the ultimate. While Terry's going to drop the last Needlework, and Rary's going to pop his ultimate to survive. That is probably the most passive Tryndamere I think I've ever seen in my life. But
yeah. It is important to note that during a lot of these trades, it seems as if Rari's waves are not in the best spot because he always seems to have very low fury. Not that it matters, obviously. I don't think really anything's stopping him from just hitting Terry and building it up himself, but he never has like his fury free stacked up for that free crit chance. And maybe that's just playing with his head a little bit. Maybe he thinks he's
quality player. Never mind.
Unlucky. Maybe he thinks he's a bit too weak without the fury stacked up before the fight starts.
You don't. He just has to get it halfway. Pressing on gives him about 50 more fury. But yeah, I don't know. This top lane is going much better for Terry than I thought it would, and you know, well played to him playing the way as well. You know, we constantly see the wave on his side of the tower, so it's always, you know, forcing Rary to have to make that decision of if he can actually like do the all in and get the kill. But this Trin will be scaling, and at the same time, Cinniboo is sitting on that Rift Herald, starting it up with WH Turtle roaming up to this top side. Should be a pretty free Herald for SDC, as VGA is not VGU, excuse me, is not in any position to really contest. Zohair is going to face check and realize they're doing Herald, get a little upset by it, and walk back into his own jungle. So 11 minutes in the game, 2-2. Action has really quieted down a bit, and we're just kind of sitting here waiting for something.
Yeah, a lot of this game is going to revolve around this Galio and his Predator roam timings. He hasn't really taken any. And we saw how strong it could potentially be, even as far back as level 1, where he started W and took... He also started with his boots, so he had Predator from level 1, excuse me. He was able to Predator onto WH Turtle on this Nautilus and burn that flash, but other than that, we haven't seen the Galio do a whole lot in this early game. Unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I mean, Galio is down 20 CS. We're seeing him miss a few. Ichiro looking aggressive here on Capanese, not going to find anything. But yeah, I mean, I think this farm lane, you know, it could end up playing a factor if it keeps snowballing. You know, Galio doesn't need many items to be useful, but at the same time, you really don't want to fall behind to this Akali in item pace, because then she just gets to the point in side lane where she's going to be able to solo kill left to right, as Ray now going aggressive on Wild Terry. Terry drops the needlework, going to bring down Ray to 1 HP. Ray doesn't care. He's still going forward. Goes to word trade. Ray's now backing up as Wild Terry is able to get some trade damage off, and Ray was not able to go forward with the flash. That's just going to be Wild Terry winning out on the trade with that double armor item on Tabbies and Bramble. Oh, as I say, that fight comes down in the bot lane. Zohair going to look for the stun onto WH Turtle. Is going to land. Do they go forward? Here comes the Nautilus ultimate. Going to knock out Ichiro. Heal comes out from Arch. Bit miscoordination there from both sides, I feel. It looks like here comes the comeback play in from Cinniboo. Hook might come out. It's not going to land, as the direct to camera feels like top lane is more important at that point. And it's a bit of a standoff bot lane.
Yeah, they did lose vision of Turtle when he walked into that bot lane bush. No wards placed, so he was able to walk away for free. Didn't get polymorphed, and they didn't feel comfortable going forward without the vision. I think
going aggressive now. Hook lands onto the wrong player. Quality player gets hooked in. W Troll's going to flash away from NECC, but now Cinniboo's going forward. Drops the ultimate. There comes Stredman 3 in the backline. Quality player takes down Cinniboo and ults away. Now Zohair's alone in the backline. Looks for the Heartbreaker. Is going to be flashed away, and a shutdown going over to Shredman on this Akali. Now Quality player flashing forward. Gets the taunt on 2. That's going to be a double kill going over to Virtue Gaming, and in the end, it's a 3-for-1 favoring towards Virtue Gaming Unity with Dragon as the reward.
Yeah, pretty solidly played. Zohair took kind of get left in the dust by his Galio when the Akali was trying to dive onto his Zeri. Hate to see it, but still very well played. Able to get that trade of kills as well as pick up the dragon afterwards. We're going to see an Ocean Soul, which is probably the most boring Dragon Soul we could have seen in this game. Still obviously going to be impactful. The Galio is on his... Unlucky. Galio is on his Everfrost now and was able to get back on the map before the Akali got her buy-in, so the Akali was not on her Proto Belt. So quality player was definitely a bit more useful there with the fully finished Mythic. What I was trying to say, this mid lane CS gap is really only going to get farther ahead.
Mid lane? No, these guys like keep like, it's like a tease, you know, like they want to fight and then they decide not to.
Yeah.
Oh, Hex Smash is coming out here, though. This might be the engage coming in. WH Turtle gets the hook onto Zohair. Zohair gets CC chained here, and there comes the all-in from Shredman's going to take him down with the Proto Belt as Skinny Boo flash forward for the finish. Was not able to get it. A nice tower dive being pulled off there from the side of SDC.
Yeah, just didn't have vision of the Nautilus, and they just had no clue he was just kind of chilling in the Raptor Pit. Well played. Solid play by them. They're able to pop the Rift Herald and get the chunk onto the mid lane turret. They were not able to finish it as plates were still up as they have dropped now. They are able to get the first right in the bottom lane though. So yeah, solid response from SDC. Able to get something back after that lost fight bottom lane and the dragon.
Yeah, this Jinx is going to be kind of massive. I mean, she's already first item. With that tower gold as well, she has to have full boots plus second item. How do you feel about Japanese going for the more greedy Kraken Slayer build this game with, I'm assuming that's going to be Fan Dancer instead of Gale Force RFC?
I don't really know how to feel about it. On one hand, obviously she's going to kill people faster. On the other hand, there is very, very, very little CC on the side of VG Unity that she could be getting caught by. There's things like, maybe she gets caught by a needlework needle and she gets slowed for a solid chunk. But other than that, the real thing she has to avoid are the Viego W. I forget what it's called. Spectral Maw, that's what it's called. The Viego Spectral Maw or the Galio Taunt. And I feel like being able to dodge those with Gale Force, especially Galio Taunt, because of how easy Galio could have an angle to get onto you. I feel like I would maybe argue that's a bit more important, especially because there's no Malphite on the side of VG Unity. There's no tanks that you really need to shred through. Gwen, who's really the only person building armor at the current moment. Viego also does have his plated steel caps. She can just press her funny W button. You can't auto attack her anyway. So I would think maybe Gale Force is the way of just to be able to try to actually get damage out, getting some damage out.
Oh, as we said, that Copper needs an awkward position. No flasher, has the exhaust almost coming up. A Heartbreaker is going to miss. Arch takes him down anyway. And Caffanese is a little out of position there as we were talking about his build going to go down and give some pressure to VGU on the map.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. If she had the Gale Force to potentially outplay the Spectral Maw from the Viego, she might be alive right now. But instead, she just has Kraken Slayer. She auto-attacks a bit harder. I don't know how much I agree with that. Or even, I'm not going to say Shield Bow is correct, but even something like Shield Bow, maybe the extra shield would be able to help her live in one of these teams. Not that situation. She was still probably dead. But I feel like Kraken Slayer was the worst just because there's no super big tank that it's your job to cut through. And with how it's also a bit different if they have like tons of ways, tons of like, spare skill shots so you have to dodge. Obviously the move speed from Scale Force would come through pretty clutch, but at that point I think the active item cooldown is a bit redundant at that point. Not even redundant, just because with so much to dodge you can only use Gale Force once. But with how little there is actually flying her, I feel like dodging those very important skills would be more beneficial than the Kraken Slayer damage.
Collapse coming in bot lane here. W's going to flash over the wall with the Hex Flash. Needlework's going to come down, but Wild Terry is locked down for so long, and Rory is immune. As Skinny Boo nearly goes down, and Terry's somehow going to get out of this alive? And he killed Rary. How did he kill Rary? What just happened? Wild Terry with a 1v3 situation in the bot lane. Gets a kill. Gets out with his life. Without even a full item. Keep in mind, he's still on components. What?
That's the extra armor from the steel caps from the Bramble Vest, able to keep the Gwen alive a bit from those double auto attackers in the Xin Zhao Tryndamere. Now, obviously, she should have definitely still died there. Also, I guess the minions had a very big vendetta on Rari. I'm assuming it's how he died. I really actually didn't catch it. So yeah, I mean, well played. She got a fully stacked Q off. She got off all of her needleworks for all of her healing. And was able to buy enough time, make enough space to get away from the members of SDC Death Cards. So well played. It was funny Gwen things, but not much more to say.
Yeah, Dragon spawning now. Even though Unity's up 3 kills, the gold lead is literally dead even at this point. So we're still looking for an exciting fight. We're looking all eyes on Shredman 3 for this fight. 3-0 on this Akali, looking to jump on the back line. Arch is starting to get big at 1.5 items. So Zeri's going to be a threat, but it looks like VGU is going to concede this Dragon as they didn't have the mid lane push going. And Wild Terry is more than content to just stay in the side lane and be a complete menace and a pain in Rary's rear right now. Tryndamere really having no way to match this Gwen at this point, down pretty much an entire item. Just looking at the inventories, it's pretty rough for the Tryndamere at this point. So Unity's in a pretty commanding position.
Yeah, it would have been really cool if Unity was able to get that dragon, but they weren't set up for it super well. That being said, they are also totally fine to just scale out later into the game with this Zeri Lulu. I don't think they're too upset about it. But putting themselves on Ocean Soul Point definitely would have been a boon to them. So yeah, I mean, just looking at how this game's going to go forward, it's up to the Akali to try to find the one-shot on the Zeri. But that's only going to get harder going forward, as Zeri is going to get a bit tankier once she finishes her Titanic Hydra and potentially itemizes it to the Black Cleaver. As well as with a Lulu probably sitting on top her, you have to try to one-shot the AD carry who's building tank items through a Lulu shield, through Lulu ultimate, and potentially through getting polymorphed. If there is an assassin to do it, it is probably Akali. But her job is definitely not easy this game. Also, Galio ulti has to cut them down through a Galio ulti. So yeah, there's just tons of ways for VG Unity to protect this Zeri, and so this Akali's gonna have a really hard time trying to push her lead. I think the main way that Akali's able to push her lead now is trying to pick on Gwen in the side lanes, as Akali is in general a strong answer to the Gwen.
Yeah, I mean, we felt that way from the beginning, right? It should have been Akali top matching the Gwen, and Trinity mid matching the Galio. You know, and I was really convinced SDC had this in the bag from draft, but you know, I feel like they just griefed lane assignments, whether it be, you know, Rary just can't play Akali, or Shredman doesn't want to play Trin. You know, it could be something like that. But pretty unfortunate to see, as Wildterry is once again in a 1v3 situation top. TP coming out this time from Quality Player. Going to try to help Wildterry live. So much damage onto Skinny Boo. Going to go down to 1 HP, but survives as they kill Wildterry. Quality Player isn't strong enough on this Galio to look for the play, but Ichira is up here. However, just him. Lulu and the Galio, not enough to take him down. Wildterry finally going down. A kill over to the side of SDC Def Cards. Unfortunately, I believe that went on WH Turtle, so not super valuable.
Yep, another kill on a turtle as opposed to Rari or Sinibu. These Trinity is going to continue to struggle.
Ooh, Quality Player looking for a play on Rary. He's going to land the taunt as Rary dashes away. It's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Everfrost is going to kill with one last punch to the back of the face. Quality Player picking off Rary in the top lane.
Yeah, and that just adds insult to injury. Trinity is not having a fun time this game, which is, again, we touched on it earlier, a bit surprising. It still should be a solid matchup for the Trinity. Important to note, the camera panned away there, so we didn't see Quality Player miss another cannon minion. Unlucky. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how SDC Death Cards really gets back into this game other than trying to put the Akali into the Gwen and try to bully this matchup with the lead that they have. But the later this game goes, I'm not going to say the harder it's going to be, but the more important that it's going to be that Akali is with her team as opposed to trying to answer the Gwen in the side lane.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Akali, she decides to go Zanya's second items here, so even she's a little stunted now. As oh my god, are we getting a bug?
Ari, what's our bug?
You can't hear this, but in game, I'm permanently hearing the Zanya sound.
Nice, baby, let's go.
God. Give me 1 second. I'm going to transition us over to Caster Desk. I apologize, everyone. I think I might have to actually reload client. Okay, I'm taking our timestamp. Wow. That is a really annoying bug. Yeah, Captor in chat clearly is realizing it. Really apologize about that. Give me 2 minutes while I reload the game, but Fine, you go ahead and fill in the time.
I don't know how much there really is to fill in. I guess maybe we can talk about the way the draft order went. So just to recap, we had Unity first pick the Gwen on blue side, followed up with Xin Zhao Jinx, and then Unity follows that up with the Lulu Zeri, which SDC responds with the Nautilus. Overall, those seem like some solid draft picks. Seems pretty textbook. The only thing I could really say is the Zeri dropping in priority, but if you decide to prioritize Gwen over Zeri, that is obviously your derogative. And then we also saw the Jinx instead of the Zeri, which is also pretty standard. So nothing on the draft seems too out of place as we are back.
Yeah, we lost about like 15 seconds. As actually speaking of that, Shared Man is not matching Wild Terry, and that's exactly what should happen in that matchup literally every single time.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Flash forward coming in for Quality Player, looking for the plays. He got the flash route into the Everfrost area. Now here on to Skinny Boo. Skinny Boo has no way to survive it. He's going to go down as Capanese had to flash over the wall to get away. A huge play coming from VG Unity to punish in that bot side, and Baron now being started up. And there's
I think
SDC doesn't know.
Even if they did know, I think it's a very solid Baron call. They're going to force the Akali to rotate up. The Akali does not have ultimate, meaning Zeri should be able to just free hit in this fight. Zeri also has...
Quality Player getting a little bit poked out here. Now Zohair gonna get hit by the traps. Akali still not TPing in. Quality Player going forward on Capanese. Capanese has no TP and he's just gonna go down. Rory now looking for the play. A nice Zanya is coming out from Quality. He's gonna let him survive a little bit longer. Heal also coming out. So much permanency on this. He misses the dash. Shutdown goes over to WH Turtle, though. He is doing all the damage. Shredman's in the backline, but again, no ultimate, as you said. Zohair has the reset on this Viego. He has absolutely unleashed. Arch has so much ultimate stacks. His movement speed is way too high. He could hit you in the shroud since his auto attack is an ability practically, and that's a triple kill going over to Arch as Virtue Gaming Unity blows this game wide open.
Yep. that's exactly how I expected that to go. Once the Akali bolts are ultimate killing the Gwen in the side lane, and VG Unity are able to get the pick onto the Xin Zhao, that seems like a pretty solid Baron opportunity for VG Unity. I can't blame Death Cards for going for the fight, as it just kind of feels natural. Doesn't mean necessarily right, but it does kind of feel natural. It is only
Wild Terry going aggressive on Skinny Boo here. Skinny Boo is going to be able to wisely get over the wall onto Grompa. Nice play there. As Wild Terry does not care. He's still going forward. He's going to get the third needlework going aggressive onto Japanese, but gets exhausted. And he might have overextended himself a little bit there. Going to drop it down. I respect the attempt, at least.
Maybe a bit too hyphy. Maybe he thought the Galio ulti was going to be in range sooner. I know I've definitely agreed with teammates with that before. That being said, definitely a bit too ham. Well played to Sinibu with the... I don't want to say mental fortitude, but I don't know what I'm trying to say instead. To realize that his Gromp was up and take the wind becomes lightning into the audacious charge over the wall to make some space for from the Gwen. That being said, they're still dealing with the Fed Zeri now. She's on her funny 3-item power spike that everybody knows Zeri for. They walk away with 4 Barons on their side. The obviously unfortunate part is that Death Cards do pick up the Dragon, so there is still no soul point for Unity. That being said, with this Baron buff, they should start being able to crack those turrets, specifically the Tier 1's bottom lane, as well as the Tier 1 bottom lane, as well as the Tier 2's on the side lanes. There's a lot of standing money, and this Tier 2 mid lane. They should be able to make a lot of money off this Baron, and hopefully that'll give them a good enough lead to run away with the rest of this game.
Yeah, I mean, Unity, I said it pregame when you weren't here, but if they're able to get to the 3-item spikes, I mean, they definitely win at that point. I was pretty convinced they can't get there, but they clearly proved me wrong. And, that's being on the VG stream, that's obviously something I'm rooting for and something I want to see. So very happy to see that. Very happy to see an Unleashed Zeri. Although you don't like playing against her, she is pretty fun to watch, seeing her just dash around everywhere and doing a million damage for fun while also having 5,000 HP. But really good to see Unity has basically all 3 lanes shoving, trying to get that mid lane in. It's down to 1 HP, but one thing Unity does lack a bit is actual siege potential, as WH Turtle looks for a hook, only gets a cannon minion, and might be seeing a dive here coming around the back as Galio is here just pushing him off. Gotta get that mid lane tower, and Gwen still in the bottom lane, trying to do anything he can against Shredman 3, but not able to crack that tier 1 quite yet.
Yeah, it is a bit unfortunate.
Oh, as I say, the all-in coming in from Shredman. On the Wild Terry feeling a bit desperate here, trying to get a kill. Is not able to get the auto off. Looking for some more damage. Misses the Shuriken. Now Wild Terry going aggressive. There comes the R2 from Shredman. Last Needlework comes through. Wild Terry is able to survive all of that burst. The Shredman didn't get the majority of his damage off. Flash forward coming in for Shredman. Going to get the solo kill onto Wild Terry as quality player. Jumped in. He's going to get the taunt into the finish there onto Shredman 3. Pick up the kill for himself. But a nice, pickup from his misplay earlier on Shredman, and quality player was able to make up for Terry's death.
But look at this top lane, this Trendemir, he is playing PvE now, and he got that Hull Breaker. That cannon does not take damage. Holy Christ.
That was 600 local gold. Nice, too.
Quality player does go back and answer him, so he is going to hopefully stop him from taking the inhibitor, as well as it looks like Unity are pushing onto this bot lane tier 2. The Baron is gone. They should be able to clean up this turret and make a decent bit of money back. That being said, I think Trendemir going Hull Breaker is a bit of a mistake, as, yeah, the item is pretty strong, but I think at this point, it kind of cripples him a little bit. No extra crit, no Navori Quick Blades trying to abuse the really low spinning slash CD. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the pick. That being said, it did just kind of make him some mad money. So I guess we'll see. It also does incentivize him. He doesn't want to group anymore. Not that Trendemir wants to group anyway, but it is at least possible with a crit item second. So one of the important things to note, though, is that this Jinx is on 3 items. She has reached scary territory.
Yeah, she got the Infinity Edge, so definitely very scary. And she is like a much heavier damage build this game, right, with Kraken, IE, and Runons than traditional. So she's going to be pumping out a lot of damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage, and no one really has armor on the side of VG Unity. We talked about it a bit, but they don't have a true tank. The only armor we're seeing.
I mean, there's literally 3 plated seal caps, and Zanya's, I think 2 Zanyas, and Death Stance.
It's still not that much armor.
It's like 3 members of the 100 armor.
What does 100 armor do for you? There's no 400 armor rock here. That's where things get scary.
All I'm saying is they have armor, Rob.
Listen, every champion has armor.
All I'm saying is it's kind of a 4th item LDR angle.
I mean, it's always a 4th item LDR angle if it's not a 2nd item LDR angle.
Well, I mean, Jinx picked up a dagger.
That does not build into LDR.
So that is not LDR. Can we get a -1 in chat, please? Thank you. But yeah, it is looking like the game slowed down a little bit. If all in on the Wild Terry here, though, he doesn't know what's going on. WH Turtle's up here, and here comes the TP out from Quality Player. This should be very advantageous for Virtual Gaming, as Wild Terry is literally taking negative damage. WH Turtle basically gets one shot by the last needlework. He's going to hook away, so he's able to survive for a little bit, and Rary is able to get out himself. So TP burned for no lives traded. Not a bad trade in the end, as WH Turtle still getting ran down a little bit. 3v3 now in the bot side. You have to give the advantage over to Virtual Gaming Beauty. TP flank coming out from Wild Terry. He doesn't have needlework. He's going to get stunned up immediately, but he is immune. Cinniboo is so weak. Has the Guardian Angel, but he built that 2nd item. He just has nothing else. He's going to instantly go down. Wild Terry mistimes it. He's on the dragon. I think they're just letting him live for fun at this point. He's just a little pet for them to play with. Arch is going to take the kill, and that's going to be Dragon going over to Virtual Gaming Unity.
Yep, and with Baron spawning in 16 seconds,
goodbye, Rary.
It didn't even have ultimate to try to save him. They might not even need Baron. They might just walk it down and take this in him. But so yeah, with the Baron spawning so soon, I don't think Guardian Angel really did anything except delay Cinniboo's death by 3 seconds or so. They do change their minds. They're gonna walk it down to this Baron, and with this Baron, they should be able to take down at least 1 inhibitor, ideally 2, and put them in a prime position to end out this game. Overall, looks to be a pretty solid game. No Nexus have exploded yet. There's still a chance, so we shall see. But this is looking pretty dire for the side of SDC death cards.
Yeah, they're still looking for a contest. As Quality Player, absolute mad lad, flashes over right onto Capanese and was not able to react in time. Shredman is going in pretty sicko mode right now in the backline, but Arch is still alive somehow with 1 HP. Shredman doing what he can, but he just does not shred enough as Wild Terry is here. Literally 1 auto KS's the kill from his entire team. Thank you very much. And it looks like VG, after that 3-for-1 fight, is now going to try to take the Baron once again. Heartbreaker over the wall from Zohair is going to find out Skinny Boo. He's going to go for the 1v1, and he should be able to win this pretty convincingly. So Quality Player is coming around just in case Zohair needs the help. He's going to miss a stun there. Ultimate coming out from Skinny Boo. Champion is a bit ridiculous. He's surviving for a very long time. Zohair finally takes him down, takes the Jinzhao for himself, as Terry and Arch are going to finish off Baron. That's going to be a 10,000 gold lead at 32 minutes for Virtue Gaming Unity.
Yeah, and in a very short time, this game went from SDC death cards favored to pretty neutral, now all the way over to VG Unity's favor. It only gets worse. Zarya finished her Black Cleaver. I wonder what her last item is going to be. Maybe a Blade of the Ruined King, maybe Death Dance, maybe Guardian Angel, maybe Warmogs just for fun. Decides to pick up a stopwatch. That's the boring answer. And it might be the right one, but that's pretty boring. We do see we have Zanya's on the side of the Galio and the Gwen up, as we talked about a bit earlier. They honestly should kind of just be able to dive past these turrets, get an ace, and end the game. But so yeah, time will tell. SDC death cards, even though this game looks pretty much over for them, they did have some strong points, obviously. This Kali got pretty far ahead early on in the game. It just wasn't able to abuse the lead that she had. And we now just see the rest of the team. They weren't able to carry their weight. The Trainer did not have a good game. The Sinzao did not have a good game. Turtle had a great game. Yoinking all those kills away. A bit unlucky. Padding his stats, so...
Yeah, I really feel that like the top jungle of SDC just got really gapped. Terry just seemed to be in a permanent winning state, and Zohair was always in perfect counter gank positions on Cinniboo and getting the picks when he needed to. But, like you said, the bot side of SDC played really well early. They got solo kills in lane. Shredman was obviously 3-0. So, it's kind of a top side gap, and I think the individual performance of VG Unity's players really came out and showed this game.
Yeah, and especially Terry was pretty much perma 3-man the entire game. And he was still... He lived a lot of time. He got, kills out of it once or twice. He lived most of the time. So yeah, you put all that pressure, and then the Gwen is still able to survive through all of that pressure, as well as,
Oh, Engage coming on top lane here. There comes the Galio ulti, but there's Shrubman flashing in the back line. But Archly has 5,000 HP with the Lulu ultimate on top. A hook coming in from WH Turtle. Reset looking for on Japanese. He's not able to find it as that's a double kill. Coming out, Wild Terror is literally diving double Nexus Tower onto it. Someone who can't die, and he's going to win anyway. There comes the Guardian Angel popped out from Cinnyboo. Pops the thumbs up emote. He knows it's over. Everyone knows it's over. It's VG Unity taking down game 1 of the series.
Yep. No, they got their 3 items, and now they're hitting Nexus turrets. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, a lot of this game was definitely in Shredman's hands with the lead that he got, as well as how strong his champion was into the side of VG Unity's team comp. Well played to Unity. They were able to they were able to play to their outs that game, which is cool to see. It was a pretty solid game, all things considered.
Yeah, ending the game with a 15,000 gold lead. You really felt once they got online with their 2-3 items, it was just kind of doomed at that point. Really think, like I said, I really want to put emphasis on that top side. And Wild Terry, even though his stat line didn't look great, he really kind of just absorbed so much pressure and had so much split pushing pressure and shut down a matchup that he should be hard losing in. And just hats off to him. Yeah,
his stat line didn't look great. At some point, he was 1-4-1. That's the stat line I remember. You look at it, like, you're not like too happy. Like, you're not happy when 1-4-1. But he was 1-4-1 in the mid game after he got 2 or 3 man like a couple times. If those getting to works, he would have been like 1-8-1, and that feels a lot worse. So well played to Terry, able to eat all that pressure, live again, turn around a kill in at least one of those instances. And when he's able to absorb all the pressure and relieve his team a little bit, allow the Zeri to farm up, find those good fights that she wants, allows Viego to get those resets, and also enables the Galio to come in and support Terry when he's 1v3ing and winning. It was cool to see. And like I said, with him eating up all that pressure and then Zeri able to just free farm and get through her items, eventually she got to the point where she moved at Sonic the Hedgehog and she shot people, and that's what Zeri does. So
yeah, super well played by VG Unity, taking down game 1 of the series. It is a best of 3 though, and SDC Death Cards has the chance to come back, make it 1-1, and bring us to a game 3 for like the 8th series in a row or something. Hopefully not. Hopefully we go to bed early tonight because I'm exhausted. Rob clearly took a nap, so he is pretty tired too. But regardless, I'm always down for a banger. So we're going to take a quick break while we get ready for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the draft for game 2 of Virtual Gaming Unity versus SDC Death Cards. Welcome back, everyone. From that short break, we are in here for game 2 of the night, Virtua Game Unity versus SDC Death Cards. Once again, I am number 2 Ginger, your play-by-play and producer for the night, joined by Trapani Fan, who is here for draft this game, so we can get some very big brain dissection as bans are coming out. Gwen is going to be the big change for SDC on the bans, taking that away from Virtua Gaming. Don't want to see that again, as a Wild Terry had a pop-off performance, and Zeri as well. So Virtua Gaming's got to change up their draft here. Chapanya, what do you want to see changed up from both teams?
Well, for Unity, I wouldn't really like to see too much change. That being said, they're going to be forced to. On the side of SDC, I do not mind the changes they have made. They dropped the bans beforehand, which were the Thresh and the Rek'Sai for the Zeri and the Gwen, with the luxury of being on blue side. That being said, it's a bit upsetting to see that they choose not to play the Zeri themselves. But of course, they're probably going to be trading away Jinx for the Aphelios to go along with the Thresh. On the side of VG Unity, they don't change up much of anything. So really, we just see SDC heavily prioritizing this Thresh. They banned it last game. They B1 it this game. So overall, I can't say I agree with it, but they did make some draft adaptations, which should give them a better chance in this game. We see the Jinx, which is obviously no surprise, as well as the Graves coming in. The Graves is, of course, a three-way flex, primarily a top laner these days, but does have the ability to go mid or jungle as well. So for SDC here, when you look at how they played last game, the Akali was able to get a lead, but then wasn't able to do much with it. That's your strong point. I feel like it's trying to play towards their mid laner this game. That being said, you were landing Akali into Galio. It's not like a super skill expressive matchup. But no surprise, we see the Aphelios staying here for SDC. They are clearly fine both with Thresh Aphelios or Thresh Jinx. So yeah, they had still some tier 180 carries for both teams this game. I'm curious to see what they're going to go for here. If we look at the jungle pools, we see Hecarim and Nunu taken away, so we still have the standard picks of the Xin Zhao and the Lee Sin, as well as the tier below that being something along the lines of the Jarvan, or the, well, no, Hecarim's banned, I said that. As we see the Shen locked in. Now, Shen is primarily a top laner. That being said, does have the ability to go jungle these days. I don't know if that's a like isolated counter matchup into the Graves, so we shall see. But we do have a tanky boy now in this game, as we see the Thomas Kench locked in. I shouldn't say locked in. Thomas Kench hovered and locked in for Virtua Gaming Unity. That is almost guaranteed to be a support pick this game. We normally see the Tom Kench locked in with the Senna, obviously. That being said, I believe that is not allowed currently. I could be mistaken.
You're correct.
Of course. So, looking at what's open for both of these teams, the first thing hops into my head is jungle, and that seems the same thing for Virtua Gaming Unity. We see they're taking away the Xin Zhao for their 4th ban. Waiting to see what SDC responds with, if they're going to proceed to pinch the jungle pool or look somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm curious what Virtua actually picks here, if they want to just kind of expose where the Graves is going and pick a jungler and give your kind of pick to your mid laner, or they just take a safe pick for the mid lane. I mean, I feel like they kind of just expose where Graves is going, since the Shen pick came down already from SDC, and just say, hey, we're taking the Graves and the Shen, and we'll just like match that. Because getting a counter pick for your mid laner, you know, it's not super often you get it in this beta, but if you have like a relatively deep mid lane pool that can, you know, start esking into more than just control mages, it can be super valuable. I mean, the game can still definitely be won through mid lane, especially if quality player has some nice picks up his sleeve, something like a Kiana or a Zed. I don't know, something a little spicy, something a little bit out of the norm. But with the Tom Kench, you generally do want to play more front to back. SDC kind of wants to do the same thing at this point, so both team identities are pretty similar in my opinion. But Virtua Gaming, yeah, they're going to show the jungle here. Lilia, interesting hover. Is that going to be the lock-in? 5 seconds left. 3, 2, give me the Lilia. Yes? No? Oh, there it is, the lock-in. So Lilia, the lock-in for the jungler. Graves most likely in the top role. Lilia, always a really interesting champion. Very hard scaling again already from Virtua Gaming. Not much of an early game threat, but a nice solo AP that also opens up the potential to throw an AD mid laner in here.
Yes, and it is important to note that while not super common, Lilia top lane was played for at least a little bit, so this could maybe potentially be flexing up into the Shen, assuming they don't want to put the Graves into it. Assuming they do, who knows? I'm not drafting for them, as we see the Diana locked in here for SDC. I wonder if this means they're going to grab an AD mid laner themselves and try to let this Diana solo AP. She really likes that, obviously, because it makes it a lot easier to one-shot people when they're not building Merc Dreads. But we shall see. There aren't a ton of super great AD mids right now.
I mean, they have Akshan open, they have Tryndamere open, they have Lucian open, and it can still being seen some picks. Akali is a lock-in. They had Yasuo open too for the classic Yasuo Diana.
They did have Yasuo, yeah.
So, I mean, just going for straight comfort, it's not like Akali was the problem that game. She was 3-0, but the double AP makes it kind of rough.
Yeah, double AP, and you're also trying to assassinate someone like Jinx through a Tahm Kench eat, which is always a rough task when you are assigned it. That being said, a couple dive buddies as we have the Diana and the Shen. As we see...
Oh, okay.
Alright.
I mean, what's the point of saving your last pick if you're just going to Galio?
Yeah, this is now 2 times in a row where Virtua Gaming Unity has just... It's not even really handshaking, just accepted that, yeah, we're going to play the bitch mid laner this game. Which feels really bad. You look at the side of SDC, you have the Akali ultimate, you have the Shen ultimate. Those are both really good ultimates, as well as Sylas isn't a super bad matchup, but the Akali is a bit of a skill matchup. So you did have something like the Sylas, who had a couple OK ultimates to steal. I don't know what else you would necessarily pick into the Akali. That's like super hard winning. You could do...
I'm pretty sure you just TF.
You could do LeBlanc, you could do Vex, you could do TF. I don't think TF is worth picking.
Oh yeah, you got Vex. Yeah, then Vex. I mean, Vex just like also like absolutely stomps Akali and is very, very good into Thresh Aphelios. Granted, you want AD. Like you could even just like you can Irelia, you can Akshan here. You could do like a bunch of bruisers. You could even Lee Sin mid. Lee Sin was the traditional counter to Akali.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple options that were not Galio. And it does make me a bit sad to see the Galio again. That being said, it does make some sense that the dive from SDC is going to be magic damage, so you are going to be getting some value out of the Galio ultimate defensively this game. And important to note that there isn't really a way to offensively use Galio ultimate this game. There's no Gwen diving in, there's no... Obviously, the normal ones would be something like Jarvan Cataclysm or Camille Hextech Ultimatum. So Galio is a purely defensive pick. He's probably going to just give the lane again, fall some CS, and trying to make plays around the map, as well as use his ultimate defensively, trying to save his teammates and countering for his team. We do see a lot of appeal, though, from the side of Virtua Gaming Unity, also with the Tahm Kench, as well as the Graves does kind of want people to come into him. So not a ton of going forward on the side of Virtua Gaming Unity, but a lot of going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think this draft is just like super hard waiting for Virtua Gaming. As much as I was crapping on the Galio pick, I do think it's a very good pick. It's just boring for a last pick, and that's kind of what I'm disappointed in. But yeah, like if I was drafting, like I would say it's a really good pick. You want Galio's double AP, it's fine into Akali, and you have basically everyone's melee on the side of SDC besides Aphelios, which is absolutely fine. So Galio works really well from that. And the fact that VG is just outranges SDC in general. You know, the only argument is Aphelios, but even Jinx, when she has lethal stacks up, will just outrange Aphelios. So SDC has to come into Graves, Lilia, Galio, TK, which feels really, really bad for SDC. You know, the main problem for Virtue is, you know, Shen is going to be a global threat, whereas Graves isn't. So there's a good chance that SDC might be able to snowball some early game plays if Virtua Gaming doesn't respect the Shen ultimate coming across the map. And Akali Diana has a very, very strong mid game where they're a lot more proactive than the side of Virtua Gaming, and that could often lead to a lot of mistakes coming out from Virtua Gaming and a lot of disrespectfulness, just getting caught out, maybe clearing vision. So I think compositional advantage is really good for Virtua Gaming, but it can be a bit harder to pull off.
Yeah, for sure. One thing to keep in mind with the Shen global presence is that Graves does take towers pretty fast. He does a lot of damage when he gets into that melee range, and the traditional build is normally a Hull Breaker first. So if Shen does ever leave his lane for the play and the play doesn't work, That's going to be a lot of money funneled into the Graves' pockets, and he could very quickly get out of hand and become unkillable for the side of SDC, but we shall see.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break while we wait. Excuse me. For a game to load it back in, as a spectator delay is a great feature, so we don't have to add a delay into our own stream. But we will be back in a few minutes with Game 2 of the night, Virtue Gaming Unity versus SDC Death Guards. Do not go anywhere. I promise it should be a banger. Welcome back, everyone, into Game 2 of the night. I am number 2 Ginger, joined by Chapanya Fan. Once again, we are back, the dynamic duo, always here, ready to go, ready to cast our fellow Virtue Gaming brethren, as Virtue Gaming Unity does, once again, 5-stack into the bot lane, looking for an invade, looking to make some plays. Chapanya, do you think this is going to work?
Judging by the ward in the tri-bush, I'm going to say no.
That's a fair assessment.
going down the board for both teams, things seem pretty standard. We do have quality player starting with the boots again this game, getting the full value out of his Predator, starting with that from minute 1. He took his keystone, he wants to use it now. Other than that, pretty standard down the board. Yeah, I guess, we do have to talk about Lilia rune choice, as we don't always see Dark Harvest. We have seen some Conquer, some Phase Rush.
Phase Rush is just bad.
Is it?
Yes, I've gone over this with our Resident Lilia one-trick captor a million times. Movement speed has a soft cap in the game that on Lilia, with you get max stack Q plus Phase Rush, you actually don't get the maximum amount of movement speed you should be getting because your movement speed is soft capped. So it's just inefficient to take Phase Rush.
Okay, but most of the time you're proccing Phase Rush before you get max stacks Q.
Not necessarily. With how long you're in a fight on Lilia, you can get it 2 or 3 times. Compared to something like Conqueror, it's just better to have like the extra stacks. The movement speed just doesn't apply. Anyway, that's like a whole like other discussion. This has been like discussed on r/Lilia means like 10 times because everyone does this and everyone gets pissed about it. But anyway, Conqueror or Dark Harvest are the correct choices. You could argue between Conqueror and Dark Harvest all day. I think Conqueror actually might just be better this game just because you're playing front to back and they're going to be melee range on you. But Dark Harvest is more damage, so that sounds more fun.
Well, if we were all about fun, I would argue that going fast with Phase Rush is fun. That's just me. But things shaping out as we expected here. The Graves get the early push on the Shen. Obviously, AoE auto attacks, and as well as the end of the line, minion waves die pretty fast when you're next to a Graves. We see both junglers clearing up towards this top side. And we see VG Unity with a bit of a tempo lead in the bottom side as they were able to take level 2 first.
Yeah, I mean, Terry, absolute no regard for any sort of wave management this game on Graves. He's just perma-shoving in and hoping that Rary can't farm very well under tower, and that's proving somewhat correct as Rary has already missed quite a bit of CS. Skinny Boo not unfortunately going to be able to pressure too hard on this Diana, and that's exactly what Zohair wants, as he also wants the full clear. Both junglers probably full clear at like literally the exact same pace, since they both clear pretty fast as AP champions. So interesting if they meet each other at Scuttle, but it looks like Skinny Boo is going to be there first, so Zohair might be down a Scuttle Crab this game.
Yep, and we do see actually one thing to touch on is that the Akali has taken Electric.
Oh, as I say that, Skinny Boo's actually in collapsed on the Predator from Quality Player coming out. Flash over the wall coming out, and that's a double flash from Zohair. Going to follow. That's first blood. Just going over to Zohair. Instantly a great play from Virtue Gaming Unity to punish the non-Prio in the lanes.
Yep, we already have that Dark Harvest stacking up now. First stack acquired at 345. They committed both of their flashes for that play, but obviously your flashes for first blood on an isolated jungler sounds pretty good to me.
Oh.
This is exactly what we should have seen last game, as the Akali, she does have a hard time matching the wave clear of the Gallia early on in the game because her energy cost on her 5-point strike is just so insanely high. So good to see quality players already moving out of the lanes and making more plays than last game. Other than that, just some solid awareness to understand they could go for that play too.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice, honestly, by quality player just instantly flashing over the wall and falling Skinny Boo. A lot of players just won't be that aggressive and will just take the flash, but going for the play when you know you can is a very, very, great quality to see, and kind of the killer instinct you need to go far in a league like this, where there's just a wide range of skill, anywhere from like a master team all the way down to like a D4 plat team. So to make an impact, you got to be really willing to go for those plays and have the confidence. So very, very happy to see as Zohair has a very early lost chapter, and Quad Player has a very early Merc Treads as he TP'd back in. So pretty rough for Shredman as Hook comes down on Arch, but I don't know if this trade is going to be beneficial. Wild Turtle going WH Turtle going so low. Exhaust is going to come out onto Capanese from Ichirap, but no kill is to be found, as unfortunately with Exhaust means you lose a lot of kill threat. As I say that, a lot of damage coming down onto Shredman mid. He's just not burning flash. He's accepting his death as a nice bowling ball from Zohair. Guaranteed the kill there. And it's just looking very, very good for Virtue Gaming Unity early. As I say that, another play coming out of the top lane. Wild Terry getting jumped on. Cinnamons gonna miss the Q, so he's not gonna get the dash reset. Flash coming out for Wild Terry. Cinnamons going on him, but the extra movement speed is gonna get him out alive to survive the gank.
Yeah, overall some solid play from Unity. The downtown bowling ball able to secure the kill onto Shredman on this Akali. Terry dodging the gank, just have to invest his flash. But we did see quality player moving up with the Galio ultimate to potentially stop them from going any farther forward. We see Shredman has just hit 6 in the mid lane as well, so the Akali could potentially start becoming unlocked now and actually playing the game. But we shall see. Overall, this has been a very solid game from Unity. They have leads pretty much across the board this game, so they are looking pretty solid, pretty set up to carry us over into a solid mid game and hopefully end the game in a similar fashion to last game. It is important to note, though, that Rari on the Shen has just hit 6. The Stand United, it's going to be a bit harder for VG Unity to continue to make these plays.
Yeah, Stand United always a very important factor to keep an eye on. Really can turn like a play on its head and, you know, turn maybe a guaranteed win for Unity into like a 4-0 or something. So we're going to have to see if that comes into play. Dragon is available. Zohair's up in the top lane, though. As while Terry gets taunted under tower, he took one more tower shot there. He might have been in a bit of trouble playing with fire. But as I said, Dragon is up. It is Mountain Dragon. We'll see when either team decides to play for that.
Yeah, Dragon has been up for a couple minutes now. Neither team has made a decisive move towards it, as we see Turtle ganking the mid lane, but no way to stop the Justice Punch from a quality player, able to get out scot-free.
Yeah, and Terry looking like he's going for that Hullbreaker first for sure. So the classic build, thankfully getting nerfed tomorrow, actually. So hopefully we won't see that too much anymore. Yeah, pretty slow pace. VG is happy just taking these early kills and snowballing. You know, Arch is in a very good position bot lane. Same with Terry. It feels like every lane is just kind of getting to shove in their lane for free because Diana just really can't match anything or force a gank. She is 6 now as she's down here in the bot lane. Ichirat is going to get engaged on. Cinebu's going to look to pop the ultimate. Is going to find it off of Ichirat's flash. So that is Ichirat going down right when I was talking about the 6 being popped. So nice timing there. Thank you for validating my comments. And well played to SDC.
Yeah, with the Stand United unlocked, or the Stand United on the Shen, the rest of the team kind of becomes unlocked to try to start making these plays. Good heads up play on Unity to make these plays before the Stand United was available, as now, obviously, they're going to have to pop it at some point.
Dragon being started up here. Zohair looking for the sleep. On to Cindy, but he's going to find it. So much damage comes out. He doesn't go over the wall as W Turtle flashes and the Stand United came out. Bit of an awkward play there, but that is going to be Dragon secured. Terry is going to try to push in this top lane, probably get a plate or two for himself. Rory doesn't have the TP, so he's going to have to walk it back awkwardly, but no Hullbreaker out yet. So not too much loss there, as Dragon is secured for WH Turtle's flash.
Yeah, no, you know, never punished. The flash from Turtle did look funny just because it was right as Cindy Boo decided to get scared and click the lantern, trying to leave the dragon pit. Turtle said, "No, we are getting this dragon. Don't you worry."
Yeah, engage again, coming out in the mid lane. Quad player gonna get a knockout on the Shredman. Gets a nice shuriken over the wall there. It's a very, very big chance you could mess that up if you step a little bit too far away from the wall. So nice job getting out of that one. He did have the flash just in case, but so much pressure coming out onto Shredman this lane relative to last game at least. Very nicely played from quality player.
Yeah, by this time last game we saw Shredman had about a 20-30 CS lead, and the Galio was not able to get out onto the map earlier in the early game, whereas this time, quality player was able to find 2 early kills and has kept it relatively close in the CS department. So the Sakali is definitely not as accelerated as she was last game, and they're probably going to be able to utilize the Galio much better, hopefully. We do see the Hullbreaker finished up for Terry on this Graves as Death Cards picks up the Rift Herald. That is Shelly, pretty much ready to spawn at the 10-minute mark. Some good heads-up play from them, able to secure that. I wonder how they're going to use it this game. It also is important to note that the next dragon is going to be the Cloud Dragon, meaning we have more interesting souls on the table this game.
Yep, more hover by Zohair in the mid lane. So much pressure put on Shredman this game. Another thing to note is that quality player was able to go Merc Treads this game instead of the what are those things called? The steel caps now? It's still called Ninja Tabby. So that's just, a nice big MR buff to have in lane relative to last lane where you just had to build armor because they were all AD. So feeling a lot better for the Galio this game. Both junglers have their ultimates available. You can kind of tell they're like antsing for a play to happen. They want to do something. Stand United isn't up for about another minute. So Rary kind of just chilling in the top lane, down 40 CS to Wild Terry and 2 plates. So Terry having quite the good time up here, letting his team win the game for him while he just split pushes for fun.
Yeah, and you see him right there. He's got that Hull Breaker active. He's got tons of armor. Rary doesn't do much damage to begin with. He's a Shen, but he does basically negative at this point. And we see it now, like he's able to start getting this chip damage in on this turret. If Rary ever leaves again with the Stand United, this turret could very well... it probably won't go down as turret plates are pretty bonkers, but it could definitely go down to about 1,000 HP or so if Rary ever has to leave the lane again with Stand United.
Yeah, not looking too good. Shredman going a bit aggressive on the quad player. Is going to pop the ultimate. Stand United's going to be coming out. Squad player flashes away a little bit too late, though. As the damage from the R2 came in from Shredman. A nice kill. Sleep is coming out, but a flash forward from Cinebu onto Zohair. Going to take so much damage. Zohair looking forward. Wants to make the play, but the Shuriken flip comes out. A nice play from Shredman after the flash away from Rary and Cinebu to secure the kill. 2 for 0. In the mid lane, but at the same time, Wild Terry, like you said, pushing in this top lane, where he has TP, so he might be able to get back in time, but if it doesn't burn TP, this tower is going to go down. Might go down anyway.
I'm pretty sure Rary's, he's going to burn the TP, is going to stop his turret from going down. It is not 14 minutes yet, so the turret
Terry's still going to go
out.
for it, though. Oh, no, he's taking tower. He's not. Now he's going to go for it.
Broken. Yeah, he'll definitely finish up this turret here, yeah. So even able to get the TP out of Rary, which is even better now, as the next time he leaves, he won't be able to just TP back and answer. Bit antsy from at least Zohair on the side of VG Unity.
He'll start a red buff.
Red buff's not that scary. He stepped a bit too far forward. Maybe used his sleep a bit preemptively. But still, overall, not too bad with a Wild Terry able to pick up the first turret in the top side, and that is even through Death Card's Rift Herald that they got. And VG Unity, or I should say just Terry, as he's the one that hit that turret, able to solo kill it before plates go down without the use of a Rift Herald. That means a lot of money went into his pockets, as we see he has picked up the Merc Treads and the Hex Drinker. On top of the extra Hull Breaker resistances, this Graves, it doesn't look like he's going to die. Assuming he's alone. He's kind of griefing himself right now. But
yeah, I mean, Dragon is up in 10 seconds, so it looks like Vici wants to contest this as Shredman going very aggressive here. He's going to get taunted up, gets CC chained. He's going to get R2 away as he was invisible in that shroud. The sleep's coming through, and there is the super mega death rocket coming in from Arch to secure the kill. So much burn to kill one target there, but granted, Shredman is a big threat, so you have to say it might be worth it, as now VG starting up this Dragon. Is SDC going to contest? It's a good question. Is Wild Terry just shoving in the mid lane? Rary is here to match, so it just means it's a 4v3 at Dragon Pit if SDC wants to take it. But there is Shinibu getting jumped on by Quality Player. Quality Player so strong here. Knockup comes in from Ichirat, and Lantern is just not enough as the CC chain is there. Quality Player running amok inside SDC's jungle as VG is starting again to take control of the game. Oh my god, it's not even over. A dive coming in on Rary. It's a poor 5v1, and he takes down one, though. He is a legend. The dive coming through for VGU is a 1-for-1, but they also get the mid tower, so I think they'll take those. WH Turtle going to get the hook over the wall. I don't know if it's going to mean much, as Shredman did not have ultimate. Arch pops the cleanse just to be safe, and VGU is going to slow it down with a 4,000 gold lead at 14 minutes.
Yep, and this game, Death Card's comp is a lot harder to play than VG Unity's. VG Unity's wants to just play front to back and hit the people in front of them. Death Card's comp has a bit of finesse to it, but as the price of having a comp with some finesse is that obviously it becomes harder to play, and even harder if you are falling behind. These two assassins inside of Diana and the Akali were not able to find too much going on in the early game, as now it seems like the game is kind of out of control at this point. Wild Terry is basically unkillable with his Hex Drinker, Hull Breaker, Merc Treads. He will also be picking up the Gore Drinker, so he heals a butt ton. The Galio got his one item, so he's now able to CC and potentially one-pop these characters, these characters on the set of SDC Death Cards that aren't going to have any MR. Also, obviously, the Aphelios is not going to be super mobile, as Caponese has opted for the Kraken Slayer again, as opposed to the Gale Force. So whoever gets caught up in the taunt or an Everfrost, he could very much just pop. And we also are going to see the Lilia building towards the Zanya's Hourglass and just trying to get through a Tom Kenji as we have a bit of a fight breaking out in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it looks like SDC was setting up on a 4-man dive for quality player, but VG Unity was able to sniff it out. And Ichirat was able to come down. Bowling Ball comes down. Then Jirazi going to come out on to Cap, and he's able to cleanse away in time. A nice reaction onto Ichirat's knockup. So ulti for cleanse, not a bad trade there. Hook comes through on to quality player, but that taunt gives him so much extra MR and armor, so no big worries there. And this whole time, Terry is just pressuring this top lane. He's out pressuring Rary, who just can't really do anything about it. So it's it feels like SDC's kind of on a timer to make things happen, or else your top lane is just gonna eventually lose inhibitor. Oh, yeah. Flash coming in from City Boo, though, onto Arch. Arch has no, he did have Flash, actually. He just kind of got one shot. Wild Terry now getting engaged on, but in the bot lane, Caprice is literally AFK watching what's going on top lane. He flashes away. Big ultimate coming down, but it's not enough damage as Ichirat's able to get the eat on the quality player. And now more fight in the mid lane. Shredman's getting a stand united on him. Goes in, is able to take down Wild Terry. A big shutdown going over to the right man on Shredman. Plays going on across the map. The overall kill total ends up being 6 for 6 in the game. Gold lead shrunk down to 3,000, so it looks like that play was much more beneficial for the side of SDC. Death Guards as they'll also crack open the mid tower.
Yeah, Death Guards making a solid play, trying to get them back into this game, able to pick up a shutdown on Terry's side. They pick up that mid turret, which is the most important turret in the game. That being said, I don't think things look super great still, as they had to invest 3 players. Well, I guess I shouldn't say, no, probably, it was like 2.5. Cindy Blue obviously did one-shot Arch on the Diana. That looked really fun. I bet Arch had a blast. But we saw Rary's usually losing trades when he's taunting the Graves under his turret, which does not bode very well. Obviously, the Graves build is not an insane amount of damage, so that should probably be turning around sometime soon as Rary's able to finish up a couple more items. But the game might be over by that point with how ahead this Graves can be. He is rotated down to the bottom lane, trying to take that bottom lane T1, which is some standing extra gold for the side of VG Unity. As they're able to pick up Shirley here on the top side. They will also have Shirley available for this Dragon, spawning up in a minute. 1-to-1 in Dragon totals. It is also an Infernal Rift and an Infernal Soul. Rift, kind of boring.
Here comes the engage onto Caprice in the mid lane. There's going to be a flash forward from quality player into the taunt, and that is going to be the kill as, Caprice, Capanese, I call him Caprice. This whole series is just getting jumped on consistently by all of the CC from the side of Virtue Gaming Unity. It's going to give them a mid tower. Wild Terry going to get collapsed on here in the bot lane. There comes the ultimate from Shredman. Signibu going to look to go in as well. But Terry is so tanky. He just tanked all of Akali's damage and barely took anything. Hex Shrinker is going to be popped. He's going to go down eventually, as unfortunately there is too much damage for him to survive. He doesn't have enough damage himself yet to trade back. But in the meantime, Virtue Gaming Unity is pushing out into the mid lane. Sleep is going to come out on to WH Turtle. He is a dead man. Super Mega Death Rocket going to pick that one up. As the Riptide's going to charge onto the inhibitor, Virtue Gaming Unity decides not to take that at the 18-minute mark. And it doesn't look like the Reptile's go. Oh, no, they kept it alive. They decided to let it take the inhibitor. I think it's going to end up taking it. I'm going to pan over there myself. Yep. Okay. So SCC Death Guards opts into letting the Shelly take over that inhibitor for them. And Dragon is going to go over to Virtue Gaming Unity.
Yeah. Overall, really interesting move by SDC Death Cards. This entire play started with Capanese getting caught in the mid lane on the Aphelios. No flash, no cleanse. No Gale Force dodge to get him try to get him out of jail. He got ran at by a Galio taunt and died. It's about how you expect it to go when there's a Aphelios with no summoners on the map. They do go ahead and use the Shirley spawn to break the mid lane inhibitor, and then Death Cards opts to let the inhibitor fall. So obviously what this means is that the waves are going to be pushing back into them, basically denying VG Unity an entire lane of gold. That being said, it also does give them the bit of map pressure to potentially yoink away this Baron, and if they're able to yoink away the Baron, that is a ton of gold and XP that basically makes up for the destroyed inhibitor, all the waves they would be losing, and they will be able to potentially use this to get that top lane tier 2, which is really low from earlier when Wild Terry was just beating on it. The bottom lane tier 1 as well is also pretty low from Terry beating on it. So if VG Unity are able to go ahead and yoink away this Baron, as the top T2 falls anyway, we'll see a teleport coming out from quality player.
Oh yeah, nothing going on there as quality player. Just teleport in, make sure his top laner is safe from any collapse scrum. Boo, although Boo is a bit weak, that champion itself is really strong in isolated situation. Quality player going a bit aggressive, pops the Predator as Baron is started here for VG Unity. Rary is in the bot lane, split pushing on the Shen, so he does have the ability to stand united in, but it's so hard for SDC to even step in close to the pit, as Quality player is like a one-man army in himself. There goes the Stand United, flash in, coming in, the taunt comes out, is Shen able to get in? Yes, he does. Ichirak goes down. Now it's a front-to-back fight, looking pretty good so far for SDC. It looks like all the members of VG Unity are going down. Quality player's the only one left, as Shredman was able to annihilate the entire backline of VG Unity. At the same time, Caprice melted the front line himself, and it's a 5-for-2 in favor of SDC as they take this game right back.
Yep, that's a bit of a rough one for VG Unity. They were not able to find any good bowling balls onto the side of Death Cards before they got to the pit. And they were eventually able to bully their way through Terry and Quality Player and get to the pit. And we saw the Stand United come out, following up with the Flash Moonfall from the Diana onto Zohair and Arch, forcing Arch to flash and Zohair to go into his Zonias. And then at that point, you have 3 assassins in your backline, and that's not going to feel super great for VG Unity. Quality player also did not find a time to cast his ultimate, meaning there was no knockup, there was no magic damage shield for his backline. We also saw Itchy Rat. He was able to use his Eat, but did go down very early on in that fight. I believe was the first casualty for VG Unity. So overall, that was a very, 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 very nice opportunity by Death Cards to pull themselves back into the game, as it is now only about a 2,500 gold deficit for them. And they have been able to just pick up these waves that have been crashing in mid lane. That being said, it seems as if the waves are going to start meeting in the middle a bit more often, meaning Unity could potentially get some gold and some XP back. The inhibitor is only going to be down for about another 2 or so minutes, meaning the inhibitor will still be down for the dragon spawn, so Unity should have a pretty solid avenue to be putting themselves onto Soul Point for this Infernal Soul, which is pretty scary. I still don't believe if Terry had the Gore Drinker for that fight, as we see a bit of a... Ooh!
Oh, no follow-up on that. Everfrost on WH Turtleblack is the flash forward. City Boost looking for the aggressive play. All the damage gets Zanyas, though, by Quality players. Looking pretty good. Shredman in the backline, though. One-shots Arch completely. What a play by Shredman. Gonna be able to solo win the fight as Sinibu gets the ultimate on Arch. Ichirai is gonna go down. Huge props to Shredman as he just absolutely annihilates Arch through Ichirai. And somehow, some way, SDC is taking over this game. Gonna take the ban for themselves. At the same time, Wild Terry is split pushing in the bot lane, but he's not gonna let too much more as Rary is back and gonna get the Baron buff soon. What a massive fight for SDC.
It seems like Unity is having a bit of an issue trying to play around this Graves in the side lane, as they continuously try to push forward onto SDC Death Cards with the Graves and in the side lane, and just not letting him you just push on those turrets. You know, we see Rary's having a pretty hard time still, even with the Bramble Vest picked up as opposed to the plated steel caps. Terry is just so tanky because of the extra Hull Breaker stats, the extra health he's going to be getting back from Fleet as well as Gore Drinker. Terry has a really easy time side laning, and whoever he's matched by with the Merc Treads and the Hex Drinker, he should have a pretty solid time laning against them. So I think VG Unity kind of just needs to, well, I should say, what they should have done is slow the game down, maybe not look for those fights, try to play defensively, maybe use those sleeps on like 1 or 2 people in the front line and just trying to walk away from the fight as opposed to trying to take the fight, and just let Graves play PvE in a side lane. That being said, we are now in a position where Death Cards have closed the gold lead. It's now less than 1,000. They have Baron, all their players. They're now in a position to even contest this Infernal Dragon, meaning Unity probably not going to be able to put themselves on Soul Point. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know why Terry's here. He really should not be here. I think Unity should just be trying to give this and get some pressure in the side lanes and try to be utilizing this Hullbreaker Graves to its fullest potential.
Now, Dragon Spawn now. Shredman is on a bot side flank. I don't know if VG Unity knows he's there. No flash on Sinibu or Shredman, but Sinibu's flash is coming up right now. Arch is not going to have flash for this fight. If SDC goes now, a huge summoner that's going to be down. He does have cleanse, however, and I think they might be trying to delay for that to come up. I'm not too sure, as Dragon has not been started yet. VG is in a very awkward spot. They are in a pincer position, as now Shredman's behind him. Here comes the engage round to Arch. He gets eaten by Ichirat. A nice reaction, but Shredman is going to be right there to go in. Zohair's already 1 HP. A huge 3-man taunt coming out on the back line, and Shredman just goes straight onto Arch, and it's just an absolute disaster, as they can't even take down Capanese. He's going to go down finally to Wild Terry, but it took so long just to kill a single Aphelios while your entire backline is getting devastated. It's a 4-for-1 for the side of SDC Death Cards. Shredman's going to hit the shuriken flip. He decides not to go for that wisely. I don't think that would have went out very well, but a huge wipe for SDC Death Cards, going to take the dragon and take the gold lead for the first time this game.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Obviously, this Graves build is really strong, but with how much the Graves has been grouping this game, I wonder if it would have been better to just go for a more standard team fight build, maybe looking for lethality to try to go for some one-shots onto this Aphelios, or maybe just a shield bow build, shield bow bloodthirster, try to be drain tank effectively, because they were able to get some decent utilization out of the Hullbreaker Graves early on in the game, but the later this game goes, the more he is just grouping, the more this Graves is just kind of useless. Like, you see how long it takes for him just to kill one person. And also, when he's grouping, he's losing the extra Hullbreaker stats, so he's not tanky. Hullbreaker itself is still gold efficient without the passive, but obviously with the passive it becomes much, much, much more gold efficient. So yeah, I think VG Unity are maybe misplaying their comp a little bit, and they're really, you see it. They're struggling now after the lost fight at Baron to try to find a way back into this game. Lucky for them, the Graves still should be strong enough to split push against anybody who decides to walk up there. But they have to let him do that. They can't keep forcing him to come to these group objectives and losing out on all the pressure that he has on the map.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the map state right now. Like, why is Wild Terry top while Shunen's bot, right? Zohair's up here hovering. They're going to look for the group to fight. But again, this doesn't look that great for VGU. With Terry up here, knocking the Hullbreaker stats, Capanese is going to have to back up here, as now it's in a very, very awkward spot. So Skinny Boo is just going to get ulted on by the Shun with the Stand United. There comes the ultimate Quadricle, going to get a lot of damage. Sleep comes through. Shredman is in the backline doing so much damage. Quadricle is going to go down. Zohair down to 1 HP. There is the shutdown onto Shredman. So it might be a good fight here for VG Unity. Arch has the reset. Ichirat's going to go down to 1 HP. Falls down to Capanese, who's still full HP. Doesn't have great guns, but it's very hard for VG Unity to step forward with their team comp, but it's just going to be 2 kills going over to SDC, traded for VG Unity's 1, so another good fight coming out for SDC.
I think Arch had a potential angle to step forward there with the cleanse and the Jinx reset. That being said, while it is a good fight for SDC Death Cards, that's a better fight than VG Unity have had the past couple of times. So pretty solid fight. They did get the shutdown onto Shredman, and all the gold went over to Arch, so he should hopefully be heading towards that Infinity Edge next, and getting that really, really, really heavy power spike for the Jinx. That being said, you know, they're still not utilizing what makes this Graves build so strong right now, and it's showing with how hard these fights are becoming for them. They're not fighting 4v5, but I think maybe what VG Unity should have done in the past couple or so minutes is they take the pressure on Dragon like they want to take it, and they just put Terry in a side lane. Rari goes to match, and then eventually when Rari, excuse me, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, is going to Saint in for the fight, that should be Terry's time to just hit turrets, and hopefully, you know, take a turret, take an inhib in a side lane, and they should be able to use that pressure to get some other resources. But that being said, they are just fighting. Overall, like I said, that was a better fight than the last couple for Unity, so things are potentially looking up as Jinx is able to get some extra gold. But things are still not looking too great with how strong the backline divers are on the side of SDC Death Cards, and how enabled they are with this Sand United too.
Yeah, eyes on Cinebu right now. 4 items completed with a 10-stack Dark Seal. Kind of thick. Also has Flash up now, so immediately going to be flashing ulting along with level 16. So kind of like everything you don't want from on VGU's side is all on Cinebu right now. Really, really hard to actually play into this Diana. 2 levels up on Zohair. 2 levels up on effectively the entire team of VGU besides Terry. So Cinebu really with a really nice performance on this Diana so far, and really making life so hard for VGU. Is even if Ichirai eats Arch, you know, now you don't have the E to survive Shredman, and that becomes a whole issue on its own. So really trying to find a big sleep from Zohair to maybe peel back quality player as well. The problem just becomes, you know, how do you stop Japanese from getting unleashed in this fight? There's so many threats on the side of SDC death cards, and you feel like there's only like 1 or 2 real threats from VG Unity.
Yeah, and the problem now, why I brought that up about that dragon fight, is that now they lose Baron if they force.
Oh my god, chakrams are stacked here too. It's getting chucked so fast. Zohair's not going to go over the wall for this. Almost gets stolen by quality player. Went down to like 300 HP, but VGU just completely concedes Baron.
Yeah, and I mean, they have to. Aphelios had good guns. Diana does a ton of damage to Baron, you know, before 6 items. After 6 items, level 17, Diana can basically solo it. So, very heads-up play for death cards. That is their 2nd or 3rd Baron of the game. They themselves now have a 3,000 gold lead. It is the 2nd Baron of the game. Excuse me, we're only 30 minutes in.
That feels like 40.
Yeah, I know. I think at this point it's just on them. They should have a pretty easy way to close out the game with this Baron buff. Japanese has hit 3 items on the Aphelios. You know, Diana's basically a full build, has the Zanyas to live long in these fights, have the Void Staff to absolutely deck people. The Shen is getting to a point where he can potentially deal with the Graves, as the Graves damage has sort of fallen off at this point in the game for him. The Jinx herself is still without an IE, and Galio is kind of getting into the area of the game where he is kind of resigned to just a taunt bot. Can't really one-shot anybody at this point in the game anymore. So things are looking pretty dire for Unity. It would take a miracle fight. That being said, if they do find that miracle fight, they do have a pop-off champion in the Jinx, and potentially even the Lilia. Lilia has some pop-off moments in these team fights to try and go forward and wipe the floor, but it's going to be hard because they have such a hard time pulling the trigger, whereas death cards, they still have that Flash Diana ulti, they still have Stand United. You know, the backline has not had a fun time this game for the side of VG Unity, and with all the tools up on death card side, this looks to be like this next team fight should just be a wipe into an inhibitor going down and potentially even the game.
Yeah, I feel like I've once again cast a cursed the series to go to game 3, unfortunately, even though I very much want to go to sleep. But, you know, SDC Death Cards really has to try very, very hard to actually not win this game at this point, with every lane pushing in so well, all the level advantages across the board, the item advantages. I mean, there's just like, there's no real... Even though the gold lead is only 4,000, all the item spikes are just... Oh my god. All the item spikes are just in the favor of SDC Death Cards. You have Infinity Edge advantage in the ADC role. You have item advantage in mid lane. You have item advantage in the jungle. And, you know, top lane, sure, the majority of that gold lead, that gold deficit rather, is actually in the top lane, but Terry has really not been able to do anything with the lead this game. As Engage comes down into Ichi, right, he's gonna have to flash away, looks for the W back into his base, is gonna find it, so flash burned already.
Yeah, and you do see it's a very, very, very large CS lead for Terry on this Graves, but again, just due to the items, he hasn't been able to shine in these team fights, whereas Shen can have 0 gold, and Stand United's still going to be kind of fat.
Ooh. That's like 3 cannons up there for Terry, though. That's kind of thick.
Yeah, that was 3 cannons. Imagine if it still had Baron. Hoo boy. Firing squad in that top lane turret. That being said, the Baron is gone now, but death cards are on Soul Point. No inhibitor cracked with the Baron, just an inhibitor turret in the bottom lane, which is a bit surprising just because I feel like they could just dive under these tier 1 turrets and murder the entirety of VG Unity. So I guess there is still potentially some life in this game. I mean, not really, but you know, it's never over until a Nexus goes boom. So
yeah, I can't say it's over till it's over. That is a very famous quote. I believe Faker said that actually.
Oh yeah, of course.
So you can't say no to that. As third item is coming out for quality player. Diana's still sitting on that 10 stack Dark Seal, so she just hasn't been to base in a while, not upgrading that to Medra, is not selling that for anything else. But, I mean, yeah, Terry is basically double the CS on Rary, so he did get the Flame Horizon, but, you know, like I said, that 5,000 gold lead is misleading. I feel like it's closer to a 10,000 gold deficit, considering Terry probably has a 5,000 gold lead himself on Rary. So it's just, you know, Arch got the Infinity Edge. He's 5 items, and his last item is probably just going to be Guardian Angel, so there's no real more item spike to get. Jinx is that strong, she's going to get. It's just a matter of, can she not get one shot?
If I was a betting man, I'd say no, but anything is possible.
Yeah, I'd give you like minus 1,000 odds on Jinx getting one shot. Probably higher.
Think of the returns I'd make though.
For every $1,000, you'd win $1. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm exhausted.
It's okay, bro. Me too. We do see Lilia going for some MR with the item that I'm gonna pretend that I know the name too, but I really don't. I know it built into Banshee's Veil. That being said, I don't think that puny amount of MR is going to be that much of a difference maker for the double void staff that the AP assassins have on the side.
Okay, VG Unity is just running down mid lane here.
Yeah, they do have a bit of a priority.
They're bored as hell. They're just running down mid. They're going for the inhib. They want to fight. They're gonna get it.
But it's gonna work. They're gonna take it.
They're gonna go for the game here. VG Unity, absolute mad lads. They actually burned the TP out from Shroudman. Ultimate comes out onto the dragon to try to prevent Soul. It's not going to kill it. So they concede Soul here. They're going to go aggressive here because Diana isn't here, but they don't get the engage off from Ichirat. This is the problem with their composition. They have literally 0 engage. Hook is going to hit a random minion, I believe that was there or something. And they're going for the end again. Here comes the big play. Ultimate's coming through. So much damage coming through. Zohair lives. He's 1 HP. Archer's now getting jumped on by Shroudman. He's already dead. And this is all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a complete wipe. The TP out coming through. A triple kill going over to Shroudman. I believe that's a double kill coming out to Japanese. Take a bow, SDC. You have came back from the brink of death and put the game in your favor to bring the series to a game 3.
I like the play. I like them just running it down mid. That's some Chad energy.
I was bored. I respect it.
I mean, it makes sense. They were kind of down and out. They didn't really have a way back into this game. They go for the hallelujah. Shame they weren't able to pull the trigger a bit earlier. You imagine if they able to find that fight with Diana on the dragon as opposed to after she had taken it. Maybe they win that. Maybe they get a kill and they're able to end the game off that. But that being said, that's a wrap. Nexus has officially gone boom. Well played to the side of Death Cards. They were able to find those fights around Baron and pull themselves back into a game, leading us to a game 3. You know, unlucky because I understand you're tired. I took a nap, so I'm not exactly tired, but
yeah, I'm wiped, dude. But it's alright. Yeah. I am not that wiped that I can't do game 3, and that's what I'm gonna do. As you know, it's pretty exciting getting in game 3. This is like, I don't know what series. Like, I feel like every series we cast just goes to a game 3 at this point, kind of like tradition. And I don't mind it. I think it's pretty exciting. I think game 3, there's so much on the line, and we see a lot of spicy picks come out a lot of the time.
Yeah, hopefully. These drafts have been pretty standard for the most part. Things that I want to see change so far is I want to see VG Unity pick not a bitch mid laner for once, and maybe not that he played poorly that game. Obviously, the early game was in favor of the Galio, and we talked about it a bit that it wasn't a bad pick. But you know, being put on Galio duty 3 games in a row would kind of suck. So hopefully we get something more spicy out of that mid lane on the side of Unity. Other than that, I just think Unity made some misplays around their composition, and I think maybe they don't pick the Graves this game if they're not going to utilize it to its fullest potential and just pick a more team fighting centric champion in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to see how draft plays out. We will be taking a short break ourselves. Don't go anywhere. Grab some popcorn into this game 3. It should be a banger if game 2 is any indication. We can't play Silver Scrapes, but go pop it on your own computer. Go listen to it on Spotify. It is free to stream. Go enjoy that while we go enjoy our little break. We'll be right back with game 3 of the night. welcome back everyone into game 3 of the night. We are back here in the middle of draft. My bad, I went to go grab a honey bun and these guys already started draft. So pretty unfortunate on my end as SDC decides not to make a pick, but VG Unity went for the first pick. Heckram. I am joined back by Chapani Fan here for the third draft, here for 2 out of 3 drafts of the night. That is a positive win rate. That is a passing rate. I think I'm okay with that one.
Hey man, I apologize. I had no intention of taking a nap. My phone also died at some point, even though I swear it was going off when I woke up, but we can look past that. We got some draft adaptations, death card taking away the Gwen and the Zeri as they did in game 2, as we see VG Unity dropping the Hecarim ban for the Akali and then first picking it themselves as...
The first one is Silas, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Really?
Yes.
That was not the champion I expected you to use. Okay. Well, Silas with Hecarim ulti definitely isn't bad. I don't think it's worth early picking Silas. Mance does have some hard matchups.
Well, it also might want to force Unity out of Galio as well, because you pick Silas into Galio, not Galio into Silas.
Yeah, that is fair. But still, I do not think the R1 Silas is necessarily worth it at this point in the draft, but we shall see.
He's gonna prove you wrong. Oh, and they're giving them Leona ulti too. Okay, it might be good.
Yeah, well, see, I was gonna say Aphelios ulti is kind of useless, but Leona ulti is pretty good, as is Hecarim ulti. We see VG Unity opting to pick the Aphelios over the Jinx. They just value that champion higher. Totally fine, as far as I'm aware. I disagree a bit, but it should be totally fine. Aphelios Leona is a pretty solid lane. You do have a decent chunk of CC with the Aphelios purple gun, and Leona's entire kit being CC and a half. Wouldn't be surprised.
Twitch?
Don't play with my heart. I love Twitch.
Oh.
We do see the Jinx locked in as to be expected. Twitch lock-in would be way more hype, and I would maybe switch over to being an SDC Death Cards fan. That being said, I totally understand why they don't pick Twitch here. As we're entering the second part of the draft, VG Unity still has their solo lanes up, whereas Death Cards has opted not to pick a jungler, so I expect to see some jungler bans from Unity, while Death Cards could potentially take out some more solo lanes that they don't want to see going into that Silas.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like SDC, they even though they blind the Silas, they definitely have a winning bot lane. Thresh Jinx should just be winning into Aphelios Leona. Aphelios Jinx is whatever, but Thresh, obviously generally beats Leona, whereas Nautilus beats Thresh and Leona beats Nautilus. It's like the little support triangle I love to preach. So good on SDC for getting a good bot lane. Unity has a nice aggressive dive already for that Jinx, so Thresh is going to have to play very, very strong with the lanterns in order to make sure Jinx doesn't get one popped. But bans coming out, SDC with a Wukong ban, interesting. I wonder if they're maybe angling towards the Jace here or something with that ban, something that some AD carry topside that gets countered by Wukong with that ban.
Yeah, the Wukong ban is a bit interesting as... Is that an actual locked Soraka ban?
Have you not seen Terry's Soraka?
I guess not. That being said, if I'm
it's kind of
Silas,
disgusting.
I'm happy to play into a Soraka as Silas. Also gives me another pretty solid ulti to take. Excuse me, as one of my cats decided to hurt himself in the background. VG Unity taking away the Diana as well as the Shen. Feels they didn't have a good enough answer into it. I disagree. I think the Graves is a fine answer. That being said, I understand why they don't want to play it this game. So yeah, here we are vibing, waiting for Death Cards to pick up a jungler here. We still have Sin Zhao and Sin up as they opt for the Zac. I feel like Zac kind of gets ran over by Hecarim. That being said, Zac can slingshot onto Aphelios pretty easily. And there are very few ways to stop the Zac at the current moment. We just have the Hecarim devastating charge. I don't hate the Zac pick, but I believe it is definitely isolated into a losing matchup into this Hecarim. As we see the blind LeBlanc coming out from...
it's not blind, remember Silas is picked.
Oh yeah, no, that's right.
But I assume that Silas is the flex, and that's why they picked the jungle there, just to keep it alive. So I'm curious if they opt into the Silas LeBlanc matchup.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously LeBlanc has a pretty okay time into the Silas. He doesn't like being CC'd. The double chain from LeBlanc can be a pretty easy kill, as 3 of Silas's abilities are dashes. I guess 2 technically, with E1 and E2. So the chains can really mess with the Silas. Also pretty easy to get priority as Silas probably going to be maxing the W.
No shot.
Bro, And game 3 got pretty spicy all of a sudden, eh? So we see the Alawi locked in. I don't hate the Alawi. Hullbreaker is pretty strong. Nobody wants to fight an Alawi. So Hullbreaker Alawi sounds kind of disgusting. That being said, they didn't play super well around the Hullbreaker Graves last game, and I think Alawi is a lot worse than Graves in the current moment. So I'm curious how this game is going to step out. And
oh yeah, it's doomed. It's doomed. Oh, how do you pick Alawi blind and then you just pick a Vayne, dude? Terry is probably crying in the club right now.
I don't know how to feel about this. We have a lot of interesting champions. We see the Zac, we see the Alawi. I get this does force the Sylas to go into the LeBlanc, which the Sylas probably didn't want if I was a betting man. That being said, he's going to take one for the team. Vayne should have a really, really, really easy time in this matchup. If Alawi misses the E, Vayne gets to hit her for like 10 or so seconds pretty much for free. She's going to be farming tentacles on repeat, which isn't a ton of money, but obviously Alawi needs tentacles to play the game. So yeah, I don't know. I guess this is going to be a spicy game, it looks like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, like I said, I think both teams in game 3, you kind of just go for whatever like your laner wants to play. So, you know, the early Sylas, you know, maybe SDC's mid is just super comfortable on it. I've been personally in a bit of a Sylas mood myself lately. The Zac also, you know, more of a comfort pick. Definitely not like standard in Hecarim. Like if you're just drafting standard, you just take like Xin or Lee Sin there. But the Zac is exciting. Gets some really weird gank angles and can do a lot of damage onto that Aphelios and ganking on that bot lane. And, you know, I think the Vayne R5 is really, really good. And you really don't need any more engage with the Thresh, Sylas, and Zac already. Just having that double ADC hypercarry backline is going to be really interesting to see how Unity actually deals with it, since Hecarim is really the only dive champion. I mean, you could argue LeBlanc as well, but she gets peeled off pretty easily by Thresh this game. And even Zac with his ultimate can really disrupt LeBlanc a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think if Hecarim gets ahead, the game's really hard for SDC. But besides that, it's hard to say what really the win cons are from both teams.
I think the Hecarim should get ahead of the Zac. He should have a lot of tempo over the Zac again in the isolated matchup. But Vayne is going to have priority top lane all the time because, again, Alawi Tentacle is going to be permadead. And if Alawi ever misses E, that could just be a straight solo kill, especially if the Vayne decides to opt for something like the Flash Ghost this game, opting not to take the teleport. That being said, the LeBlanc should have a decent chunk of prio over the Sylas, so there is a bit of a mismatch in that sense, where it should be a pretty easy 2v2 and potentially 3v2, depending where on the map the fight breaks out. Isolated to the bot lane, VG Unity obviously have a rough time, just because, you know, you said it, Aphelios Jinx are the same champion basically. I guess Aphelios does need a bit of a PhD where Jinx just right-clicks people, but specifically in the Leona Thresh should have a pretty solid time into that. And also, I mean, the Sylas, he does have 2 solid ultimates. Obviously, you would want more if you had some absolute poggers ultimates, but Leona ultimate, not bad. Hecarim ultimate, not bad. LeBlanc, he could, if he's able to time it right, he could get a distortion to get him out of a gank, or a chain to lead into some extra CC. I don't think Alawi ultimate's ever going to be good. That being said, as Sylas is matching up into the Alawi, something went horribly wrong for the side of death cards, and they try to fix that as fast as possible so that Alawi continues to be used. I assume Alawi is going to be used this game, but we shall see. I think death cards did kind of run away with this draft. You look at it, the only weak point they have is the Zac into the Hecarim, and I touched on it a bit last game. You don't need gold for a Shen ultimate to be huge. You don't need gold for Zac ultimate to causes the disruption in the team fights. You don't need gold for Zac slingshot to hit the Aphelios and lead to him getting one-tapped by someone. So even if the Zac does fall behind, he will have some uses. And out of that, I just don't think death cards are going to fall behind anywhere else on the map. So yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, I'm not going to give a prediction just because I feel like I cast a curse literally every time I think a draft wins, it just loses. So I think both drafts are really interesting in their own way and have their own merits and are going to be exciting to watch. I'm specifically excited to see like an exciting mid matchup, LeBlanc versus Sylas instead of Galio versus Kali every game. So that will at least be exciting. Maybe we'll see a few kills in there either way. But we are going to take a quick break while we wait for the spectator delay to once again kick in. This is game 3 of the night. VG Unity versus SD Death Cards. Both teams 2-2. Both teams really need this win. It would really boost them up in the standings, and it's kind of huge just for the momentum of the season at this midpoint. So don't go anywhere, as we are going to hop into game in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, into absolute pain, misery, and suffering for the loser of this game. VG Unity versus SDC Death Cards, excuse me. It's game 3. We're here. We're excited. We're exhausted. I don't know. Draft is all over the place. These guys are just ready for an absolute banger, as VG Unity is switching up and going to invade the top side this time instead of bot lane. Getting real creative here. Very hard to actually spot out. And the pings are already coming down from SDC Death Cards about this potential invade.
They already know. There's also not a ton of CC on the sides of VG Unity, so they're probably not going to be able to catch a Rary on this lane. Yep, that's about what I expected.
Typically on definitely she does flashy to burn flash, no?
I think so. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta buckle in, because first off, I'm a bit disappointed there's no ghost on this vein. It makes me a bit sad. But also, I I assume most of you guys don't know how Silas Ultimate works with Alawi, because I sure as hell didn't. So I went and looked it up, so we gotta talk about it. So Alawi Ultimate, if you guys don't know, I don't blame you. Nobody plays this champion. She spawns those tentacles. She gets 1 tentacle plus 1 for every person hit. So if she gets a full 5-man ultimate, that is 6 tentacles. After that, her W cooldown is lowered to an astonishing low, like second or something. And each time she Ws, those tentacles slam whoever she Ws. Now, obviously, Silas Ultimate can go ahead and yoink that ultimate. And so if Silas uses the hijacked Leap of Faith, he has the same tentacle spawning mechanic, so it is 1 plus 1 for each person hit. As well as Silas's W will now make the tentacles slam. But an important note is that Silas W does not get the insane cooldown reduction granted to Alawi. So Silas does have the potential to steal an Alawi ultimate and one-shot people just like she does. And it'll be funny and insane if it happens. That being said, it probably won't, but it is important to note that it makes Alawi ultimate go from being turbo useless to steal to maybe having some potential in like a super dire situation. That being said, let's get into this game, fellas.
Yeah, WH Turtle already stepping forward a little bit. Disrespect, take control of this lane, as we said. Thrushinx is going to have a good time in this lane. Atria Arch, not so much. But they should be able to survive. They just really can't do anything. Super aggressive. So kind of unfortunate for the Leona, because that's exactly what Leona wants to do. But, you know, in the meantime, quality player and Zohair have the advantage. So you feel like mid-jungle has the advantage for VG Unity here, whereas top and bot are the strong points for the side of SDC Death Card. So it might just come down to who can play better towards their strengths and who can not int away their bad lanes.
Yeah, we shall see. It's important to note, I think it's a lot easier for the Silas to get out of lane against the LeBlanc than it is for the Alawi to get out of lane against the Vayne. It is important to note that the Alawi has opted for the Conqueror, so no funny first strike shenanigans. I can't blame her. She's up against a ranged top laner. Probably
Is that a thing?
Anyway, well, so it works, like, if you hit them with the clone, you can hit it for all your first strike damage and get that money. So there is that interact. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if anything's good. I don't know what the hell's good in Alawi. But it would have been a potential tech, maybe trying to accelerate if he's able to find the Soul Rip trades. That's definitely not the ability call. That's what I'm going to call it. If he was able to get a couple E's off Steel Vein Soul and get those first strike procs, could have been some extra money. Maybe allow the Alawi to accelerate and actually do something in this game. Probably not. But yeah, just opting for the
early
Conqueror
again coming out onto Walteri, gonna flash away. Ray's gonna do a lot of damage. Walteri going down to 1 HP. The stun doesn't land. Ray flashes forward. The soul gets ripped out, and Zohair is here. He's gonna get the gank. That's first blood going into Walteri in the top lane after a massive misplay from SDC.
That condemn was really grief. I'm like, there's no sugarcoating that. Wowza.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, Rary's already struggling in this lane. Like, he was down 7 CS, with Walteri having a bigger, like, a much smaller wave. So it just seems like, you know, consistent in these early games, we're seeing Rary just mismanage the waves and just getting outplayed by Walteri. That's an early fight, again, coming out in this mid lane. Shredman gonna go down. A quality player with a huge flash W to finish off the kill there. An early ignite as well to prevent any healing with Zohair. Getting a good amount of damage in. And an early snowball already coming out onto this Hecarim. Zohair doing a great job getting his team in a good position.
Yeah, solid from Zohair. Able to find the counter gank in the top side. Able to find the gank onto the mid lane. Does blow Silas's flash, so there is some potential repeat gank. There's some potential repeat gank that could be potentially coming on here as we see the Vayne, for whatever reason, trying to fight in the Ghost. That's not what you want to do, by the way. I remember you do want to run from it, as there's no point in fighting the Alawi anymore.
Oh, cancel the auto.
Not able to stop the recall. Unlucky Walteri to get his back off. With the pickaxe, pickup seems to be a hull breaker angle from Walteri and this Alawi. Can't say I'm surprised. So yeah, the first reset's coming in. Hecarim seems to be going for the Divine Thunder build as opposed to the, I assume it is now standard Turbo Chem Tank into Muramana. Archie also able to get off a nice early back, able to pick up the Noon Quiver, as it is now, he has some tempo up on the bot side of SDC Death Cards. Does potentially unlock Itchy Rat to go roam back mid and punish that flash with Silas. Maybe get some deep vision on the Zac so they know where those funky gank paths are coming from. But yeah, overall, an extremely solid early game, already up to over 1,000 gold lead for VG Unity.
Yeah, and even in the bot lane, Arch is already able to get a reset, whereas Japanese hasn't. So he's sitting on that Noon Quiver just compared to a long sword still at full potion. So there must have been a really nice reset angle from VG Unity that we weren't able to see. So really nice to see that they're able to survive in the bot lane as well, as Japanese finally got the reset here. All in coming out in the mid lane. Shredman is going to steal LeBlanc's ultimate, but it is only going to be that Sigil of Malice. So not a lot of damage coming through. And the trade probably ends up in Shredman's favor, as he does have that natural healing in his kit, but Quality Player is happy to take the wave and have nearly like around a 15-16 CS lead here.
Yeah, it is important to note too that it appears as if Shredman is probably down about maybe half a level on Quality Player due to the fact that he still has his teleport up and available. So he opted to walk back to lane as opposed to using a teleport. So there could potentially be some kill pressure for Quality Player with the extra XP advantage that he has, as we see some scuffling going down in the top lane, and by scuffling I mean Vayne shooting tentacles.
Yep, we do. We are fans of tentacles here at the Virtue Gaming Live channel. Put that in the record books with the WH Turtle, just making his presence known with the hook, making Ichirat know that he's there. Ichirat is up a level on WH Turtle, so WH Turtle did miss some XP somewhere, but Arch is absolutely fine chilling in this lane. I feel like after this wave, he's going to actually have a CS lead on Japanese, so definitely very, very nicely played from the side of VGU so far, just across the map, honestly. A lot of lead, they have a lead where they shouldn't. Their winning lanes are winning really hard. Even Monetary is, again, up 15 CS in this lane, and it just feels like Rary is consistently underperforming this game.
Yeah, and I think you can potentially argue that because he decided to opt for the teleport as opposed to something like Ghost or Ignite or Exhaust, he's not able to put out enough pressure onto this Illaoi, and she's able to just sustain the lane with her Doran shield. I assume Illaoi has opted for something like Second Wind into her secondary runes. So between D-Shield, Second Wind, there's a lot of...
Oh, looking for their all-in here. Quad player lands the chain, drops the Ignite, looking for the auto attacks to finish it off. Doesn't have the flash, is not quite in range to the finish. Is not going to be able to take down Shredman. Messed up the spacing just a little bit there. But a nice all-in for Quality Player, making the pressure known. However, Shredman does have TP to get back into the lane if he wants to. It's not the end of the world for him.
Yeah, Shredman living there is pretty important. As you said, Quality Player did mess up his spacing a little bit. That is A-okay, for the most part. They both going to take their backs. Silas should be out on the map faster due to the fact that he has teleport up. There it is. So it seems as if the rest of the game was going to... I mean, I shouldn't say it's going to look pretty quiet. This is, there's been a ton of fighting in... a ton of fighting last game, I should say. First game was pretty boring. At least in the early parts of the game. And Unity, they still do have this lead. It has ballooned up to just over 2,000 now, with no extra kills going into their back pocket after the first couple minutes. So they do appear to just be laning strictly better this game than the side of SDC Death Cards. That being said, Death Cards did pick up the first dragon, the Infernal Dragon, a couple minutes ago. The next dragon is going to be the Ocean Soul, so we do have the potential for the Cloud Rift, which would be the first game that we have the godforsaken Cloud Rift. That being said, 1 out of 3, not too bad.
Yeah, Dive may be coming out higher. Quality Player looking for it, but I believe he was spotted out by Cindy Boo, also hovering around in the top side, so nothing going to come out of that. Redman's going to be able to get the wave shoved in the mid lane. Quad Player's going to lose some CS for a roam. And all is well in the Summoner's Rift for now.
It is important to note that the Zac has not fallen too far behind. Obviously, Zohair did get those first 2 ganks off. After that, the game has been quiet. The Zac is up a camp and a half.
Ooh, Slingshot gonna come out here on Wild Terry, stepping a little bit too far. He has flash, but doesn't flash. The Slingshot goes for the ultimate instead. Gonna heal up so much. Rare going down so low. He's gonna get the 1v2. Wild Terry on this allow. He's absolutely insane. So here, no way. You steal the kill. He steals the kill. That's a jungle diff.
Any yoinkers? But yeah, that's exactly not what you want to do. I know nobody knows what Alawi does, but I feel like
he does that.
Alawi, yeah, she kind of has the same rule. You don't chase Singed. You don't gank Alawi. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we saw what happens when Alawi is allowed to work. I just don't think that should really happen ever.
Oh, any CS checkers in mid lane, though. Missed all 3.
Unlucky. So yeah, I mean,
Dive's going to come in top lane here, though. Zohair's hovering. Wild Terry gets him low. Arch getting a little bit caught here in the bot lane. Has Sums. Is going to have to flash away. Decides not to use it and goes for the 1v2. Not going to work out well for him there. A nice pickup in the bot lane. At the same time, Wild Terry picks up Rari in the top lane with a spare tentacle to take the kill. 3-0-1 now on this Alawi. And they're going to summon Rift Herald in the top lane as well and potentially get that full first tower.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that the Alawi, it's up against a Vayne top, is up 3 kills, 40 CS, taking the first turret. That is not how this matchup should be going. So we see Hecarim decides to actually opt for the Trinity Force, not for the Divine Thunder, excuse me. That being said, well played by Death Cards to find something on the other side of the map, able to get the kill onto Arch, where he stepped just a little too far forward. Pretty solid play for him to get something out of it when so much attention was focused topside. That being said,
Citybu jumping onto Quality Player. He is literally the only member here, though, so Quality Player just can dash away and not feel any threat. He's going to actually look for the kill, though. Pops the Ignite on Citybu, and there is the Distortion. That's just going to be the solo kill on Citybu. He got a little bit over-aggressive there, underestimate Quality Player's damage, and it feels like maybe the tilt is coming out a little bit for SDC. Oh, Quality Player jumps back for what, though? Okay. All right.
He's vibing.
Vibing with a heart attack.
I mean, tilt makes sense. You're losing to an Alawi, man. Come on.
Yeah, it feels kind of bad.
It does. It feels really bad.
Oh, Shredvan flashes in, looks for the 1v2, is able to take down Quality. Can he take down Zohair as well? He already used his heal. He's going to take one more tower shot. No, he goes down. But he does pick up the shutdown for himself, so not bad. However, he did have to burn the flash and the ultimate. I do like the hype you play there. I was kind of expecting it, and I was ready to go, but that was more instant than I was really anticipating.
I mean, yeah, solid play. 1-for-1 does get the shutdown. I don't think his team could.
Oh, there goes Citybu in for 1v3, only with his Thresh right behind him. I think this has to be considered inting. The Witch Turtle, though, saves him out with the Thresh Lantern. And a little bit of dance now around Dragon Pit. Looks like VG is going to be pushed out a little bit here, actually. Citybu is sitting in the pit, starts up the Dragon. Shredman doesn't have TP, so Quality Player is going to be here first. Citybu taking a lot of damage from this Ocean Drag. Rary's still in the top lane. Wild Terry has TP, but it's not unleashed yet, so he will probably be sitting up here with Rary, continuing to push it. Has a 2-level lead, by the way, with a 50 CS lead. And it looks like Quality Player is here now, pressuring onto WH Turtle, is going to force the flash out. Very valuable Summoner Spell blown. A nice play from Quality Player. That is going to be Dragon now secured over by Virtue Gaming Unity after resecuring control of the pit.
Yeah, things did get pretty scary. We did have a teleport advantage, but obviously the teleports are not unleashed yet. Also, there was no Onslaught of Shadows on the side of the Hecarim. Had to use it mid lane to get the trade onto the Sylas. So things did a bit scary, but they do pick up the Dragon, and I feel like I have cursed us into getting a Cloud Soul this game and a Cloud Rift. Unlucky, but you know, what can you do?
Could not lose to a Alawi as Vayne.
Well, yeah, but see, like, you know, I'm not the one who's losing to an Alawi as a Vayne right now. Important thing to note, Japanese has opted for the Kraken Slayer for the 3rd game in a row.
I mean, respect.
I guess he does have to cut through.
Oh, here comes the engagement in the bot lane. Those Slingshot's going to come out from Skinny Boot to keep him alive a little bit. Hook comes down on the H-Rod. It is a 3v4 situation. This is looking pretty good. SDC Death Card. The Leona ultimate is taken. Solo Threat comes down, but no stun comes out from Shredman as he hits a minion. Slingshot comes out once again onto Zohair. Gonna stun him up, but he's able to walk that one out. Quality Player actually takes down Skinny Boot for overextending a little bit. Japanese gets a crit, but it's on the clone. And somehow, some way, VG Unity gets out with their lives and only a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1. Well played by Quality Player to get the trade back onto Cinebu. The Zach Pass was still down from when he decided to int into the Alawi forever ago. So yeah, overall, looked a lot worse. Looked like it was going to go heavily in the favor of STC Death Card. So trading a 1-for-1 like that, you'll take those. You did lose your bot lane T1, but Alawi doing Alawi things with that Hull Breaker hitting this turret almost takes the top lane tier 2 while Vayne was covering with the mid lane, just trying to grab some CS. She is still not having a fun time this game.
I feel like Wild Terry might just 1v3 if they go for this. Here comes the Slingshot onto Wild Terry. He's going to pull out the soul, goes for the ultimate. Cinebu already going down to half HP, but they're able to kite away from the ultimate wisely. However, Cinebu's already down to 1 HP. Shredman thinks better of it and runs away from the scary Alawi woman. She is very, very, very scary. And that is going to be a failed gank attempt. Cinebu did not learn his lesson the first time. Tried again, and maybe he'll learn his lesson this time as Rary is vibing, just farming up the wave, being like, what are you guys doing? We can't kill this guy. Do something somewhere else.
Yes, still haven't learned the lesson that you can't gank and allow you. You really can't. Like, champion's not good, but the champion does. She is a-okay if you want to come up and gank her, especially without any anti-healing from anybody on the side of SDC death cards right now. Not even an ignite on the Thresh. So yeah, I mean, she just finished her Gore Drinker too. She's gonna get like all of her HP back off some Tentacle Slams and the Gore Drinker proc. I think this allow is pretty unkillable for the next 5 or 10 minutes or so. Maybe even longer because his main is not close to an item.
Aegis coming out mid lane here as Aegis getting a bit caught out, gets flayed in, and that is W Turtle going solo. Pops a nice stopwatch though. Aegis going down to 1 HP, is going to die. Capanese has to flash away from quad players. Burst now. Zohair is here on the flank, gets a devastating charge on the Capanese, jumps in, but he's going to get locked down. So much CC, it's a shutdown going over to Shredman. So gold going over. Flash forward from Shredman, going to bring down to Arch 1 HP, is going to take him down. Quad players is the next target. There goes a slingshot. That's going to be a triple kill over to Shredman in the mid lane.
Yeah, now what you want to see. We see VG Unity again. Taking like tons of fight. At least Terry's not here. You know, Terry's doing the thing where he's supposed to be doing now, where he's keeping his Hullbreaker passive up and just trying to.
I mean, this could be a repeat of last game though, where Terry's just permanently side lane. His team starts losing mid game fights, and even though Terry's so strong on the side lane, it doesn't matter because your team just loses the 4v4, and he can't end the game by himself.
I think the problem with last game was that he didn't side lane enough.
Fair enough.
I think even if your team was losing the 4v4, if you're able to take turrets in the other half of the map, you're still keeping up some pressure. You had a couple of opportunities where he maybe could have taken the inhibitor. Whereas, at least so far in this game, he is really strong, and I think maybe if he was able to find a leap of faith on the backline, then maybe he would just one-shot everybody. Well played by Zohair to pop the blast plant, but I still believe Cinebu's, yeah, he's just going to jump away.
Yeah, no ultimate from Zohair, so no chance.
But I think this game, the problem is that the Vayne's never going to leave. She doesn't really want to. She'd rather just hit you. So even if Wild Terry stays in these side lanes and he eventually starts
Cinebu just going to get popped by Quality Player, has the passive, but he has no one on his team around. Quality Player just going to let them get close, pop the distortion, and poop another solo kill for Quality Player as Wild Terry forces Rary to flash away. So he's going to get the tower himself, but it looks like a collapse is coming out on the Wild Terry, who still has the ultimate available. Is Shredman and W Turtle strong enough to take this? W Turtle thinks he's not. He is running away. He is ill-advised in this one. Again, still no healing reduction, so they think better of that one, and they're like, maybe later in the game, maybe in 10 minutes, we'll revisit that one as Dragon is spawning in 5 seconds. Quad players in the top lane with no TP, but VGU is more concerned about pushing on this mid lane with Rift Herald and going towards that Dragon.
Yeah, Quality Player still not moving, so he looks like he's going to finish up Terry's job. Ooh, maybe not. Terry did get that top lane T2 pretty low before, so Quality Player is going to try to finish the job now.
Oh, nice come down comes out. I think he might just get one shot here by Quality Player, though. Shilbo saves his life. If there was a Shilbo, he does get one shot. Even then, it's still very close to it. If that chain hit, he was dead. Quality Player is going to distortion over and take the tower. 600 gold in his pocket. Jinx Rocket, Super Mega Death Rocket! Takes him out. Big. That's actually a massive shutdown over to Capanese. Now 3-0-4. Getting massive from these fights that SDC has been winning. And again, you know, this 3,000 gold lead, so much of it is actually in the top lane. So these 4v4s without Terry in them is more even than it actually looks. While Terry's here for this fight, though, as Warby Troll drops the box, Slingshot comes out but misses Terry. Big ultimate coming out, a big combo from Zohair. So much damage coming out. Moonlight Vigil comes out. Arch doing so much damage. Has red, white, don't fight. A double kill instantly going over to the side of VGU. While Terry picking that up, and then the Arch picking up the other double kill of 4 for 0. Clean wipe off a huge wombo combo, all started by Itchy Rat.
Yeah, that was pretty poggers. There's really no other way to put it. That was a Solar Flare into a Onslaught of Shadows into the Moonlight Vigil. That was the 200 Years Flamethrower one before, so even the Aphelios was able to get a ton of damage off in that team fight, and everybody blows up. It doesn't matter how big you are on this Jinx. If you get caught in one shot with the rest of your team, obviously that doesn't matter. Well played. Extremely nice combo from VGU, able to pick up the Dragon, get the team fight, push down these turrets. They got the mid lane tier 1 off the back of Shirley, excuse me, as Terry just kind of vibing down here, hitting this turret whenever he can. As Rory's still not having a good game. Well played, just a solid fight. They hit all their buttons, and everybody inside of Death Cards met death today. So
Very, very good comparison. I agree. They have met death. The only one who really hasn't is Japanese, although he did pick up his first death. But, you know, Shredman as well. Even though he has 4 kills, he's down in the CS department, so it does hurt him quite a bit, as Quality Player has put up so much pressure this game, going for the Void Staff second, has the stopwatch in his inventory. And, you know, Japanese is at 2 items. He is matching Arch very well. But, you know, the Gale Force LDR feels a bit more scary than the Kraken Slayer Runons, in my humble opinion. Zohair with the Sterix, second with the Triforce build on the Hecarim. Very, very interesting. I haven't seen that lately.
Well, I prefer the term bad, because I'm pretty sure it is just bad.
Oh, we call it interesting.
That being said, I respect that. Important note, there is still no anti-healing on the side of Death Cards, and that makes me upset because I see a Blasting Wand in the Zach's inventory that could be, I forget what it's called, the Morello Orb. You know what I'm talking about. That could be anti-healing, and I think it's a bit important in this game. You have the Aphelios, who's going to heal a fair amount. You have the Hecarim, who's going to heal a fair amount off of his W, Spirit of Dread. And Alawi, we see how much health she was getting back just off hitting Tentacles. Now she has the Gore Drinker built up. Also picked up the Mana Mune, pretty close to transforming at a 288 stacks. So once she gets that Mura Mana, she's going to be really unlocked, and she will start one-shotting his Vayne even harder than she already has been.
Ooh. Ichirap barely misses the Zenith Blade there. Turtle now in an awkward spot. Zohair's going to be pushed away. Sinewy's going to pull him right back in. Slingshot gets canceled, decides better of it. Shredman is here, but no engage is going to come out. SDC Death Cards very scared right now. They are, you know, I said earlier that all the gold lead was in the top lane. It is no longer the case. This Quality Player looking for a lot of damage on the Japanese is not going to do much more as he distortions back. Shredman has the Hecarim ultimate. It's going to be used defensively by Zohair. TP coming out now from a Wild Terry to try to get in this fight, help his team out. Running forward, doing what he can, but is going to get rooted up by the traps. He gets the pull on to Sinewy. Going to do some extra damage there. W Turtle stepping back up. Wild Terry is already level 15 at 23 minutes. So he's kind of unkillable, although he isn't as tanky grouped up like this. You know, as we said, he should be just staying down, split pushing. The TP wasn't needed, and nothing's going to come out of that one.
Yeah, you know, this guy, he's playing Hullbreaker Champions 2 games in a row, and he really likes grouping with his team. Which, I understand, you don't want your boys to go down in a fight, but you can't be doing that especially when you're so strong. He's been really strong both of these games, and he's going to be continuing to grouping and not using the advantage that the Hullbreaker gives you. I would really like to see Terry just forget his team exists and play 1v1 in this lane with Vayne while she's still super far behind and is going to struggle just living. If she gets hit by 1E, that could be a kill straight up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why this, again, second game in a row where he's picked a champion that's going to build Hullbreaker and then he decides to try grouping up with his teams.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see Terry at this point. He's very close to finishing his Manamune. He can just slowly hit this tower and take it down, and there's nothing that SDC can really do, especially with Baron up now as well. I mean, VG just absolutely melts Baron if Aphelios has the correct guns. So there's really nothing stopping from Terry just sitting down here and perma-pressuring the tower, as VG is prepping the Baron. SDC is completely aware of that's what's going on, though. And going to be dancing around for a little bit. Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Soul point for VGU if they want to take it. Zohair looking for the engage. Solar Flare comes down on a Sinewy. Bit of a miscommunication there. Now Zohair's going down pretty low. Pops the Sterix. Gonna get knocked up there. And that's a reset going on the cap. He's looking on the backline. Arch H-Rats looking for the CC. Gets a cleanse out. Shredman is now somehow also Rary took down Wild Terry in the top lane. The Vayne has scaled. And now Shredman is here. Rary is TPing in. How did Wild Terry die? And all of a sudden, it's looking great for SDC Death Cards. They're able to push up in the fight. Japanese was able to get so much work done front to back. And instead of going for Baron, they're going for the safer Dragon play as a reward.
Yeah, so a big part of why Vayne does so well into Alawi is that if Alawi misses her E, Alawi's pretty useless. And the Vayne combo obviously makes that pretty easy. Additionally, as the lanes get longer, the Vayne with the ultimate also building towards the Rage Blade now. So her damage is definitely starting to get there. If Wild Terry ever does miss an E, it could just be that Rary's able to just run down Terry on this Alawi, and that the Alawi has been effectively outscaled. Now, it is obviously on Rary to dodge the Alawi E, because if she gets hit by that, she's still going to get one shot. But yeah, we're getting to a point. The Vayne has finished her Rage Blade off that shutdown too, which is really, really, really big.
Notice how she has Flash still too, and Terry doesn't.
Yeah. So I think we're at the point where Terry really can't silent anymore, because if he ever uses the E and he misses it, that could be a
going
kill.
real on Japanese, but he's going real low, real fast. One more crit might have spelled disaster. He's forced to burn his stopwatch there. Pretty valuable, actually, as he doesn't have that full zone, as he's not building towards it. So Quality Player won't have stopwatch for the next fight. A big misplay on his part.
Yeah, Quality Player also going for the anti-healing on the LeBlanc. I can't fault it. There is obviously some very strong healing from the Zac. From the Silas, Jinx may even have some lifesteal in her runes. Certainly not a bad pickup, but I would have much preferred to see the anti-healing go on someone like the Hecarim. And we put Quality Player, we put all of his money towards just big damage.
Yeah.
Because that's his job. He needs to find a way to one-shot a Japanese on this Jinx.
Wow, look how much damage is put on Japanese from one soul rip. It's at one-third HP.
And we see how strong that Terry can be if he hits it.
Level 16 now, too.
Yeah, if he doesn't hit the soul rip, though, he has a very hard time stepping up trying to do anything. And I think we are at the point where...
Baron being started, though.
I think Unity are kind of desperate to try to get this Baron to try to put them in a position to take an inhibitor and crack open the game.
Shredman has TP. Here goes Quality Player. Gets a one-shot on Japanese. Huge play by Quality Player to potentially win the game off this fight. Rary is going to flash away, but he is still locked up. Has a shield. Gets a nice condemn, but Quality Player is here. Going to pop out Rary with Zohair, and that is a double kill on the two hyper carries for the side of SDC Death Cards. A huge play by Quality Player to make up for his little int earlier. And now VG Unity going to take down this Baron. Gonna look for the play. Sinibu is alive, has smite. It is a flip if VG Unity doesn't find a way to push around, and they're gonna peel off Baron here. Look for the engage on a Shredman, maybe. No, he has the Alawi ultimate. I'm excited to see the interaction. So even though VG Unity killed two people, they aren't able to take the Baron.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Going for a flip would feel really bad if they lose it. But they do use the Purple Worm to bait out some kills onto Japanese and Rary. Sadly, aren't able to find anything larger to get off of the kills. But still, solid play using the Baron to bait out those kills. Get them some more pressure on the map. I'd like to see them do it again. Maybe this time with Terry in a side lane or something, and they don't fully commit. They just try to pull people so that Terry can try to hit these turrets. Maybe get that bottom lane tier 2. Terry also does have teleport if a fight does break out. Rary will too very soon. So we could potentially see a 4v4 or a full-on 5v5, even with these champions in the side lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking for Arch to try to get Infinity Edge as soon as possible at this point. The fact that Japanese has it and he doesn't is just like such a big factor in fights. Especially if he's not going to have it for this Dragon in a minute 30. I feel like it would be a big mistake by VG Unity to go for a fight unless they see an obvious pick. That one item alone, I feel, is just like such a deciding factors in these like 30-minute fights, this 3-item spike. So really having my eyes on that. I mean, sums up across the board for pretty much both teams besides Rary. So next fight is going to be a big one no matter what. And, you know, it's hard to say, like, if either team really has to go for a big fight since this Dragon isn't actually soul for either team. It's really just Baron that I think is the big prior right now.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because it's a Cloud Dragon. Nobody really cares about Cloud Dragon.
Cloud lives matter.
Cloud lives do matter, but I still don't care. We see Terry has finished up the Cerroto's Grudge, going for a basically full damage build on this Alawi. Makes sense. All things considered, I don't know what Alawi.
I'm pretty sure that's standard. It used to be Steric's first item, and then it got nerfed. So I guess Hullbreaker's first, but I know like most Alawi players built Cerroto's like always because the slow feels so good.
Yeah, also a pretty large amount of CDR as well.
Yeah.
So if you do miss the E, you don't get as punished for it. We do see Dragon coming up in 6 seconds. I wonder if team's going to make any moves or if it's just going to be a jungler soloing it. Never mind.
Inibu baiting us a little bit with the slingshot, giving us a little tease of the action that's to come. But it looks like VGU just has the first move to Dragon if they want it. And SDC isn't in position to really rush this Baron. But VGU, even with the position to take Dragon, they're not taking it. They just want the mid-wave push first. And now they're going to start going towards the Dragon. SDC, though, you know, they have the chance to control Baron vision here, to pressure topside, to pressure anything. and they're opting out of it and just conceding over the dragon. Pings are coming out onto the Baron now. They're going to start it up, but it is a bit late. VGU should be aware that they're probably starting this. They do this so fast, by the way. VGU does not respond. They have Vayne Jinx, guys. This is like insanely fast. Already at 5k, 4k, going down so fast. It's going to go over to SDC. Huge play. And now Rary's going down 1 HP. He's going to go down in trade, but the rest of SDC are able to just get out of pit without even burning a flash. You got to say that trade has to be beneficial for SDC.
Yeah, VG Unity just committing too many people towards the dragon, especially when it doesn't really matter. Not Soul, if it was, it's not really a good Soul. That being said, they do have some time, 4v5 on the map.
Quality player looking for the one-shot. Capanese burns the flash, but nothing else. Capanese going to look forward now. Slingshot comes out from behind VG somehow. So big summoner belt burn on Capanese here. 20 seconds on Rary, and Quality player has his ultimate coming back. Nice soul rip on W Turtle, brings it down to 1 HP instantly. Flash forward from someone, and now Skinny Boo's in the backline, gets so much there. It's Terry's down to 1 HP. Quality players, big ultimate coming down from Shredman, gets so much, gets 2 shutdowns instantly. He's able to flash away, might be able to look on the Quality player, is not able to react in time. Capanese did go down as well. Rary is up. Rary has TB flank wards if he wants it. Can SDC find an angle here and go forward? They're not going for the TP flank. That would have been kind of hypey, I'm not going to lie. A little bit disappointed he did not, with flash coming up as well. But a 2 for 2, they were able to save inhibitor off a huge play from Shredman.
Yeah, able to save the inhibitor. That being said, when you take Baron and you get pressured so far in your base that you are almost lose an inhibitor, that feels pretty bad. Hopefully the VG Unity heads up play. They recognized the 4v5 that they were stronger. They were able to push into the base. Also taking Baron off some pretty important members, as now Baron only sits on Cinniboo and Turtle. They're going to use this Baron to get the mid lane tier 2. Overall, I mean, it's solid play from both teams, recognizing what was going on.
Has to flash away, but Zohair is on the hunt. W Turtle is not a lantern up. Is going to pop it now. That's a flash burn on 80 carries. So now all 3 carries on the side of SDC Death Cards with no flash.
Yeah, and that opts them to getting caught in the Leap of Faith from the Alawi, or the potential Onslaught of Shadows from the Hecarim, and it also opens up some one-shot angles from Quality player on this Blanc. That being said, Quality player does not have an extremely high damage build. Went for the anti-healing, went for the Zanyas. You know, no death cap to go with this Luden's Void Staff, so she's not absolutely one-digging people, but it's still a Blanc, it's still scary. We saw Capanese basically gets 2 rotations from Fog of War, which doesn't feel fun when the rotation's on like a 6-second cooldown. So yeah, Quality player, he's played a pretty solid game so far.
Shredman taking a lot of damage just from one bot from Wild Terror. That wasn't even the soul.
And
that's going to be the tower taken. Shredman going to go even lower. The slow from the Serolda is doing so much. There goes the flash auto from Wild Terror. You can't flash that, baby. That's an auto attack. And that's Wild Terror with the solo kill in the bottom lane. Saying the business, taking the Alawi pick to the store. Capanese gonna do a lot of damage to Terry though if he eats these rockets. Takes him down to half HP. Realizes his mistake, and now VGU gonna push down in the mid lane. Look for the inhibitor. Rary is back. Remember, no flash on him or Shredman, so they're super vulnerable to Quality player if he wants to get any combos in. Looks like VGU is going to be happy with the inhibitor for now and not take any more. Bot lane wave is pushed in. Curious if VGU actually plays for this. Wild Terror wants to do it, but his team is not pushing up with him, even with 15 seconds still on Shredman. And VGU will be happy with that one inhibitor with Soul spawning in a minute 20.
Yeah, I can't blame him. I mean, I think the right play is obviously trying to find a dive on this turret while you have a 45 on the map. But if you guys do get wiped under their turret, that could definitely be the game. So I totally understand why they're not going for it. Going to take the safe play, opt for the Soul, get the Elder Dragon potentially on the map in 6 or so minutes. That being said, well played to Terry, able to find a solo kill even when he missed the Soul Rip. You see how much damage Alawi is allowed to do. And again, when you're missing the ability that like makes Alawi like good, quote unquote, Alawi E is kind of turbo broken. The rest of her kit is just not great. You're able to miss that and still get a solo kill. It just shows how strong you are, as Terry is officially 6-itemed up, picked up the Guardian Angel for himself, has that extra revive potentially to buy some time in the team fight. Other than that, we see Vayne deciding to build more damage, opting for the Blade of the Ruin King and potentially the Phantom Dancer next, as opposed to getting maybe some HP.
Cinniboo getting jumped on here. Nice pink ward from Interrupt Plant, prevents the Lantern from being tasted. Cinniboo's going to pop his ultimate. He's just going to go down. Huge pickup on Ichirat there to actually find the Zenith Blade into the pink ward to make sure the Lantern can't be taken. No flash on Cindy so he had no way of getting out. And VG is going to go straight down the mid lane here. They don't have a wave, though. So they're going to kind of be standing here awkwardly for a little bit. Quad player is getting the bot wave to get in so they can get that bot tower, get the bot inhibitor. VG awkwardly standing here, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the wave to come in. Zohair is going straight to Dragon, so it's actually a 4v4 in base. If a fight breaks out, Rary almost gets one shot by quality player. And it looks like they're going to concede this inhibitor, so that's 2 inhibitors going down for SDC death cards, along with Soul being picked up for VGU.
Yeah, well, but I was a bit nervous when I see Zohair going for that Soul, as opposed to sticking with his team to make sure they get the inhibitor going down. That being said, well played, solid pick, at least to the second inhibitor going down. We have Baron spawning up in 30 seconds. This is definitely a VG Unity's game to lose. That being said, I don't think they'll lose it. They are pretty strong at this point in the game. Important note, Capanese is also very strong, has hit his 4 items with that 80% crit chance, as well as picked up the Hex Drinker to, maybe on a prayer, live the burst missile block.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent buy. I think it's more valuable than getting a stopwatch for this game specifically. Especially with LeBlanc picking up a Rabadon soon. You know, if he doesn't have that, it's potential to the point where QR might literally just one-shot Capanese if he doesn't have that. So don't blame him.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not blaming him for it. It's just I don't have too much faith in the Hex Drinker.
Oh my god, that was one crit, just took the entire camp.
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay, we're playing a bit of a death push game. Wild Terror is Baron started. Wild Terror gets poked out. W Turtle misses the hook. Soul gets taken out onto W Turtle. He has to kite out. Looks like VG is leaving Baron here. They don't want to risk anything. They're playing this basically as safe as they possibly can. You know, respect to that, but also, you know, let's have some balls here, boys. And
yeah, I mean, I don't think death cards can walk through Terry, and Terry is in a pretty solid position. After the Thresh misses the hook, just kind of run them over.
Okay, here comes the engage on the Shredman, has to flash over, loses all his HP already. Slingshot again was winded up. And yeah, I mean, just start the Baron, guys. They can't do anything. Clearly, you have the power.
Yeah, I don't think they can walk through Terry. If he gets hit by a hook, he does have the Merc Treads, and I assume Legend.
He has GA too.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think it's just beating his Baron. So again, if they try to walk through Terry, he's going to one-shot their entire team.
Guys, can we Baron? Guys! Okay, they're starting it now. They're starting it now. I think Aphelios has good guns for this. So the direct cam is very focused on the team stacking on the pink ward. Yeah, he has white, so it should go down pretty fast on the AKA. Live tentacles are slamming. Looks like here comes the step in now. Skinny Boo gonna get poked down a little bit. And again, the peel off comes out. TP now coming in though from Shredman. The engage comes out. A huge solar flare onto the backline. Capanese is untouched though. Capanese is doing a lot of damage. Big Moonlight Vigil comes out. Arch has the stopwatch though. Capanese! He's winning the fight. Capanese is winning the game. The Resurrect is coming out the GA. Can Wild Terry win the fight? Knockup does not come through. He has the passive. There's no vision. Wild Terry gets the pull on Capanese. Can Capanese win this? Can Wild Terry win this? Wild Terry flashes. He gets the last auto and he's able to win the fight. It potentially saved the game from ending on a clutch Guardian Angel res and the Vision choke as Rary is still alive, and somehow the game has not ended off that play. And Baron wasn't taken either.
Terry does teleport into the top lane though.
Oh, he's gonna go for it.
Yeah, this is going to be the top lane.
I think Rary can fight him. He has ultimate. I mean, Vayne should just be able to win this, no? Okay, never mind. He lost.
Yeah, exactly. See, you get hit by one E, and it's all doomed.
Okay,
baby.
but like, just dodge the E. You have ulti Q.
Like, I mean, listen, I agree. I'm just saying.
Wild Terry is too good, man. Wild Terry is absolutely gapped Rary this series. Like, it's very, very obvious, and it's very nice to see for VGU.
That is now triple inhibs going down for VGU. Hopefully, they're able to use this to go ahead and take that Baron finally.
Maybe. They might just death push for 4 minutes again.
We'll see. Yeah, you know, who knows.
We have Elder in 2 at 232. I mean, I feel like the game should be over before that. Like, we just Baron and we just run it down mid. But I've been proven wrong before. Yep. The quality player is on a reset here for some reason when his team is doing Baron.
Well, he has a lot of money. He wants a death cap, I guarantee it. Yep.
Yeah. He gets his death cap. I mean, he is 5.5 items. Rocket came out a bit late. Baron's not stolen. All right. I mean, if this 40 minutes in the game, game 3 banger, it's 10:50 EST. Let's wrap this up, boys. SDC death cards, though, they do have the Japanese factor. He's clearly shown that if he gets a decent fight, he can pop off. And it is scary.
The problem is that I don't think it's a decent fight at this point anymore. With the triple inhibs down, the double super creeps, plus the Baron.
Hey, never say never.
I mean, yeah, but like, I'm just saying, you don't even need
one inhib is coming up, so they actually only have one double super minion wave.
Now that is unfortunate.
They're gonna be baroned up, so they will be strong, but with Vayne and Jinx, you kill these minions so fast. Yeah, they already killed the mid wave one. They already killed the bot wave one too. There's actually no double baron super anymore. Terry taking a lot of damage there. Oof.
They had a couple top sides, but
yeah, that's it. They're just gonna go down instantly. That's actually really unfortunate.
It's important to note that Terry has sold his Guardian Angel for the Death Dance. Guardian Angel is on cooldown, so that makes sense.
Oh, but, quality player gets half of Japanese's HP out. Just off the QR. Hex Shrinker was not popped there. Good, important to note. So that's still available as the third inhib is now going to go down. VG Unity taking this nice and slow. They have some cannon minions again. It baroned up. Going to start doing damage to the tower. Going down to about half HP. There goes the slingshot from Skabu. Hits no one. Knock him not on who you want. Quality is still untouched. Wild Terry is still untouched. And Japanese doing a lot of damage. Shredded Man in the backline. Might be able to take down Arch. Is not. Arch is able to survive. And now it's just battle of the 80 carries. But that is quality player taking down Rary. There comes the ultimate in from Zohair. It is all up to Japanese to make something happen. I don't think he can. It is VG Unity taking down the series.
Yeah, well played. Solid fight. They were able to kill the front line, especially without using the Onslaught of Shadows. But after the front line was gone, Hecarim was able to simply ulti on top of the Jinx, and she can't do anything for 2.5 seconds. Well played by Unity, all things considered. There were obviously some oopsies, but I mean, there are oopsies in every game. You know, Faker's not perfect, so why should I expect these guys to be?
Yeah, really well played by Unity. I think you know, I think they played the last game like they were clearly like very nervous about throwing at literally any point that game, and they played everything as safe as possible, which isn't a bad thing when your team scales decently well, but it's scary because they just gave the other like SDC death cards. Like you feel like at the end, like everybody was just 6 items, right?
Yeah, they definitely had a couple opportunities where they could have potentially started the Baron sooner, or maybe gotten a bit more of a lead. That being said, I can't blame them for the way they played. They were obviously very scared of throwing, so they're trying to play as safe as possible. So that makes sense because you don't want to be the guy to throw. That being said, you're right. It is scary once you start giving these late game carries, 4, 5, 6 items. Things do get a lot scarier even if you are playing safe because one team fight could just be the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean it's super good. For VG Unity now, heading up to 3-2 on the season, whereas SDC Death Cards drop down to 2-3. So VG Unity should be on the top half of their group at this point. I believe an 8-team group it is. So they are chilling up there. They should be, top 4. We do have an interview today. It is going to be a Wild Terry, the top laner on the Alawi and the Graves. Just waiting a minute or two for him to hop in here. Terry, please go into chat. Oh, he did. Cool. All right. And boop. And we are joined by Terry. Terry, congratulations on your win tonight, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pretty exciting series.
So, tell us about how you guys just feel now after a crazy, every game 30 minutes plus that last game over 42 minutes. Just what was the mood after you finally killed the Nexus?
Well, we were honestly a little stressed because, the Jinx was scaling up, and, I don't know, Arch felt like he couldn't do much versus their ADC. Like, their Jinx just felt really big, and then the Vayne was, just playing Vayne, so it was a little hard playing Alawi into Vayne, but,
Yeah, gotcha. I understand feeling stressed. Ginger was right. All of those games were over 30 minutes. Obviously, you go into a 3-game series. So the stress is to be expected. I have a question specifically about the Game 3 draft where you decided to blind Alawi. I want to know, if you don't mind telling me, what was the reason that you felt so confident in blinding Alawi this game?
I was fine blinding it because they had Thresh, Silas, and Zac, so it looked like their comp wanted to go in. The only problem was obviously the Jinx, Jinx with her Q having that really long range. And I figured this guy, the enemy top laner, was probably going to pick another melee champion. I did not think he was going to pick Vayne top, but because looking at his pool, I mean, I guess his most played was Vayne, but like it was only like 10 games. So if we knew we were gonna pick it earlier, we'd probably ban it over the Shen. But yeah, I was pretty confident in blinding it because I think Alawi in general is just actually a really good pick with Hullbreaker. But yeah, once I saw like the Zac especially, like something that just screams they want to go in, it seemed like a good pick.
Speaking of game 3, how was your guys' mood as a team after the game 2 loss? Were you guys still keeping high up? Were you a bit stressed? Were you panicking with picks or anything? What was the overall mentality going in?
Our mentality was honestly fine. The problem was just that like we knew we kind of threw. Like our early game was fine, and we just took some poor fights, and we weren't playing like our comp out the way we should have. And then like the game kind of just like fell out of our hands. So we went into game 3 fine, but just a little nervous is all. Like I said before.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I have any other questions. All of these drafts to me seemed pretty standard. I guess my one question is...
game 3 drafts felt standard.
Yeah, listen, Matt. We already touched that. There's nothing to go over.
Yeah.
Were there any other curveball picks that like you didn't expect to see? Obviously, we talked. The Vayne was pretty unexpected. Were there anything else in the other 2 drafts that you guys were caught off guard by, or did you think everything else also seemed pretty standard, all things considered?
I think thinking back on it, everything was pretty standard, like we expected it. Yeah, only thing was really the Vayne pick.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just leading out more into the season overall, you guys 2-2 coming in, obviously playing another 2-2 team. This game is pretty crucial to spearhead you guys up in the standings, up to 3-2 now, probably tied for either the 3rd or 4th mark. How are you guys feeling coming in and getting the victory? It's a very, very big game. What are your outlooks for the rest of the season?
I guess going into the game, like we weren't really thinking about our record, we're just taking it a game at a time, just hoping to win each one and play our best, prove after each one. So if we do make it to playoffs, we are just in the best form that we can possibly be in by just looking at each game. What are we doing well? What aren't we? Well, what are we messing up on? Stuff like that. And so like we weren't really thinking about our record really.
I mean, that's a very valid answer and a very good way to go about it. Rob, you sound like you didn't have any more questions. Am I good on that?
No, yeah, I think I'm good. Like I said, these games look pretty standard aside of game 3, which we touched on a little bit. It was an interesting series. You brought up the records for the teams. So obviously, well played to you guys. Getting the W was a pretty important W for you guys to get. So congratulations. I do also want to say specifically to you, Terry, that I think you played pretty well in all 3 games, all things considered. And I thought that the Alawi pick was really exciting. Even if I didn't necessarily agree with it in the draft, it was cool to see a champion that you don't see very often. So GG's, congrats on the win, and thanks for the awesome game 3.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that, we will be ending stream tonight, guys. Thank you, Terry, for popping in and giving us this interview. Congratulations to you and the rest of your team, and GG's over to SDC Death Guards. Good luck in the rest of your games. But to all of our viewers out there, we have a solid 18 viewers tonight. Make sure you follow Virtue Gaming Live on Twitch if you enjoyed the stream. Make sure you follow our Twitter at VirtueGamingGG if you'd like to keep on track with all of our games that are streamed by the org. Thank you very much. We have games coming up on Friday for Ambition. We have another game on Sunday for Grit, most likely. Again, keep an eye on our Twitter for the exact dates and times, just in case anything's get rescheduled. But thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a great cast, and thank you, Rob, for casting with me as well, even if you're a little late. But have a great night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.